The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning.
Don't wait for an AC breakdown this summer. Get a free in-home estimate with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Schedule your appointment today at standardheating.com.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. 93
It is a booze-fueled sex romp where anything goes.
Booze.
The objective of a boat is to get you wasted beyond belief.
I hear it's going to be a party of special magnificence.
I'm going to get everyone in this building pregnant.
You're going to need a bigger boat.
3-hour tour, a 3-hour tour.
Let's get this show started.
All aboard! Hey!
Well, damn. Welcome to the 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. A brand new stupid work week has begun for our program, but it's an F-off week, and I love F-off weeks.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
If you're not familiar with the term, F-off week, we defined it around here, at least. Our version we defined years ago. A final week of work leading up to some time away from the gig is an F-off week. We're off next week to celebrate Independence Day. So this is our F-off week. And we certainly hope our wonderful listening audience might be beginning their F-off week today as well. Certainly hope you're looking at some time off for Independence Day. The grand finale for our F-off week will be this Friday's nighttime booze cruise out there on the, how do you call it?
St. Croix?
St. Croix River. And our goal today is to dump out a 4-pack of passes for the boat ride for every segment on today's program. You know, you got the openings. This is the opening, and then you got like stupid news, and then Brad Ryder and Randy's on vacation, and then the later on segment and the other every time we crack the mics, we'll try to get you texting in for a 4-pack of passes. We'll probably F it up because it's F-off week.
Oh, totally.
But our goal is to a brand new 4-pack, coughed up every segment on today's program. And that won't be the end of it. And then starting at 9 a.m., right, Cubby?
That's right. 9 a.m. we got it going on until 7 p.m. And then podcast, we've got a 4-pack for the podcast listeners. It's going to be a big day of ticket giveaways.
It's the only prize to be given away today on live radio here at 93X will be our booze by damn cruise. So
should we just get one going now so we don't forget right away?
You go.
Light it up.
So what we got to do is we have to activate Luther Bloomington Kia text line. You text the word stumble to 651-989-9393. And you get the first shot today for a 4-pack of tickets to the Booze Cruise. Coming up, of course, as Nick mentioned, this Friday in Stillwater, furnished by Stillwater Riverboat, sponsored by Anytime Bail Bonds. There we go, one off the book. Put a check mark next to the first one.
A lot of people are volunteering to be the first winner. That's very generous of them.
Absolutely.
Well, it's nice to have people that want to go.
Yeah.
We definitely appreciate the interest. And Wolfpack Softball, Jesus, no, you're not allowed on. You've been on too many. He's been on way too many of them.
I remember him being on one in the past. So what's the point of having him on again?
No, he's already done it.
The key word right now is stumble.
Stumble.
Do they assume that somebody might stumble a little bit after a few drinkies?
Possible.
I've never seen that kind of a thing on the booze cruise. Saw a guy go over the side of the boat once.
May he rest in peace.
No, he made it.
This was on purpose. He made it to the shore where he was promptly arrested.
I'm going to be the guy that jumps off the top of the boat, he was thinking. And he did. And then the sheriffs from whatever county that is, the sheriffs put him in handcuffs.
Yeah, that's only slightly extremely dangerous.
Yeah, it was. It was slightly extremely
dangerous.
Yeah, and boy, did he look cool. And boy, was everyone so impressed with that.
Oh, man.
How much ass did he get for that stunt?
He did not
In jail? Good question.
Josh, he did not get the reaction he was looking for.
No, to the point where I almost felt bad for him.
Yep.
Yeah, there's been a couple times where we have begged people not to get themselves arrested, but they just couldn't help it.
This guy thought when he hit the water, everyone in the boat would say, "Oh my God, you're the funniest guy. How crazy is this guy? Look, he went off the top of the..." And instead he jumped and he hit the water and the crowd said, "Oh,
Okay.
All right, I'm going to go get another beer.
Yeah.
Anybody want one?
and the cops said, "Come on over here."
They were laughing their ass off
Yeah.
on the dock.
No,
Like,
no,
"Oh,
no.
Come on.
Just swim this way, a little further, a little further. No reaction from. It kind of reminded me of those two naked guys from Milwaukee.
Oh, those guys were awesome. Sure.
And you know what? I think would be fun is we give you no further information on that story. Did it remind you of the two naked guys from Milwaukee?
Absolutely. That's a good point. Just not getting the reaction they had thought.
Oh, they thought this was many, many years ago. Josh and I were on one of those silly promotional tropical tours, radio deals we've told you about before, where they send you to the Bahamas to do this, they send you to Jamaica, and some of you are going, "Wow, that sounds great." It wasn't great. It was terrible.
Well, and keep in mind, like the one you're describing was just radio people. This wasn't something where we could bring listeners or anything like that. It was just us.
A lot of delusional, childlike radio personalities. So I think this was our last night on whatever tropical disaster nightmare island they had us on. I think this was the last evening before we mercifully got to get on an airplane and come back home. And so it was kind of a low-key vibe. All the, again, delusional, childlike radio people are standing around a pool drinking. And we hear in the distance a commotion. You know, sounds like a group of people running towards us. And it was these two on-air personalities from Milwaukee. And they're quite out of shape and quite naked. And they launched themselves into the pool. Broad daylight, but I think it was still dusk. It wasn't quite dark yet. And they launched themselves into the pool. D's swinging. Splash! They land in the water.
Yay!
And our reaction was, so anyway, tomorrow,
Right.
they were hoping everyone would go, "Oh, God, the crazy Milwaukee guy." Nothing.
I love when that happens.
Absolute friggin' crickets.
And one of those guys the whole time was trying to convince us that he was dating or had dated Natasha Henstridge. You guys remember her from Species, that actress?
Oh, yeah.
Super. And at the time, she was like the hottest thing around, right?
She's very hot.
And yeah, he's oh, no, that's my girlfriend. You know, we're separated at this moment.
Oh, okay.
And he wasn't joking.
No.
He was, I mean, people were like, "Yeah, right, dude. Okay, whatever." And he'd get pissed off by it.
Oh, she is still quite good looking.
Oh.
Yeah, she can bring the
I'm going to go ahead
the
and
heat.
follow her on Instagram.
Our Booze Cruise Friday is also Dana's birthday cruise.
That's right.
Did you know that your odds of dying are 7% higher on your birthday than any other day?
Oh, I don't like that.
No.
Had you ever heard that before?
No, I wonder why that is.
And you're going to be possibly in a drunken state on a body of water.
Well, I think it's probably because of the drinking and the shenanigans
Sure.
that come along with.
more likely to be out and about on your birthday than you are, any given Tuesday.
Right. 7% higher than normal. You're going to die on Friday.
I got to say, Dana, you are fun to shop for your birthday because you're like a child.
Yeah.
And I mean that in a positive way.
Uh-oh.
So I had fun looking for stuff for you.
I've heard that before.
You've
yes.
heard the same thing?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And I was reading a list this morning of things that are fun to be when you're a parent. And I thought of you because I get to buy toys for your birthday. And you're turning, what, 39?
38.
38. That's excellent.
Yeah, I do have a very specific set of interests that are very childlike.
Yeah, it's stuff that maybe I'd want, but I just think, I can't. I'm an adult. I know who I could buy them for. Dana.
The other adult.
What are some of the other things you were reading about that are fun for a parent? Is that what you said?
Yeah, just like how kids, they say crazy stuff, right? You just don't know what they're going to say.
You get to hear things.
Watching them develop a personality, I think they get more fun the older they get.
You get to see things.
You get an opportunity to, you teach them something and all of a sudden they do it, right? They
That
learn how
must
to
be
do it.
rewarding.
Yeah.
Have you experienced that a time or two?
Not once.
Oh.
But I can imagine what it would be like. I'd imagine it'd be That'd be pretty exciting.
Instead, Josh is saying to his son, more importantly, my godson, I showed you how to do that. I told you. He still can't do it?
No, they all take credit. They take credit for the work. Reliving new experiences for them, just being able to say, hey, I've had a million Christmases, right? But you get to see it through their eyes.
There you go. There you go.
And so it applies, thankfully, to Dana, who's going to be 38 years old, and I can do all the same stuff as I'm shopping for birthday gifts for.
I appreciate that.
I get my balls busted for my diet being very childlike. The foods that I love the most, the foods that I ask for. What do you want to, where do you want to go out to eat? What do you want to eat?
That's true.
My answers are always very childlike, and I get my balls busted. Still to this day, some of my favorite foods are the things that most 5-year-olds would prefer. Macaroni and cheese, hot dogs, chicken nuggets.
Well, yeah, we went out to dinner not too long ago, and you ordered some macaroni and cheese, dino nuggets, and then a pouch of applesauce.
Everyone else was having,
over there, he's coloring his special menu.
I get my chops busted for that. My diet is very childlike. I remember that night everyone else was ordering, it was bolognese and filet mignon. I got the dino nuggets.
What was it? It was a dinner we went to with some work people, and they were busting the balls of one of her favorite people in the building, James, his diet.
Well, if there's
and there were some things he's never tried.
I think I remember this.
Yeah, okay. I can't remember the specifics.
James, grown man, if I remember correctly, we were giving him a lot of hell because he has never in his life had a bowl of cereal. Okay. I think there were 3 things, Josh. Tell me if I'm wrong. He also had never in his life had peanut butter and jelly.
Something like that. It was kid stuff.
Yes. But the third was also he'd never in his life, and what is he? He's 40?
Or 45? 40,
he's in that wheelhouse. He's not a kid by any stretch of the imagination. I also think he had never in his life had any kind of fish, never consumed any kind of fish.
Any seafood.
What's that?
No shrimp, no
shrimp
anything.
Or fish or...
Okay, any seafood at all or freshwater fish, whatever. And if I remember right, I don't remember. I think that the fish, the no fish, no seafood gimmick was just simply because the smell of it is off-putting, and I can understand that. I've got a friend who, if he smells seafood, he'll turn green.
That's my mom.
Okay.
Yeah, like my girlfriend.
Yeah, my girlfriend too.
That's a little. Although I do love seafood and fish,
same here.
I can totally get why the smell of it might put you off. Some of them look kind of gory. The other day, a week ago, I told you I was in Chicago, went to a Greek restaurant, and someone at our table ordered a fish, a breed of fish, whatever the proper term is, a species. And it showed up at the table fully intact. You know what I'm saying?
I've seen that before.
I know what you're saying. Okay.
Yep.
They cut the head off, they bone it or debone it, whatever the proper term is there, right in front of you. So, again, I can understand why fish and seafood might put people off. But if I remember right, James's disgust towards peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, he wouldn't eat one, never has, and cereal, I think it was because he has a lot of older brothers, and when he was a little kid, when he'd watch his brothers windmill cereal into their mouths, it was very gross to watch. And I think he said his brother would make these massive, sloppy peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and when he would eat them, the peanut butter and jelly would run down his arm. So it was like he was put off by these foods as a child and still has not made an effort to try them.
And he's got the world's greatest personality. Everybody's busting his balls. I mean, he's getting a lot of crap, and he's just he can take it.
Yeah.
Like, he's like Nick said, he's got like 8 siblings, and he was the youngest. He can take crap.
Yeah.
He's dealt with it his whole life.
Yeah, cereal.
Oh, that's not a life I want to live.
Yeah, it must have been quite a sight. I remember him describing that, one of his older brothers, when he would eat Rice Krispies, the milk would be running down his beard. And,
Jeez.
just so as a kid, he thought, that's gross, and he's sticking with it.
Actually, I met him on Friday for lunch, and he was talking about like some other friends he has. He's like, it's nice to go with you because I'll go to a regular place, right? Where all of his friends want to go places where things are infused or simmered or sauteed a certain way.
Yeah.
And I'll just take scrambled eggs.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's funny how like. I told him I grew up here. I mean, I lived in Minneapolis for the first 24, 25 years of my life. I know where nothing is there. I mean, outside of my little neighborhood, I barely went anywhere. And there's people that have moved here for radio, which I would never understand, moving someplace for radio.
Oh.
And they know more about some of these fancy spots than me. I've never even heard of some of them.
Like our boss, too. He's definitely he knows all the cool spots that I've maybe heard of, but I cannot tell you where they were, and I've never been to them.
I've had to ask him, hey, where's a good date spot? If somebody asks, hey, where do you go in Minneapolis? He knows.
He's got good places. The one time that me and our boss went out to eat, it was probably one of the best restaurants I've ever ate at. I was like, how come I've never heard of this place?
James wouldn't like it.
No, probably not. It was big on seafood, so definitely not.
I got a couple of my favorite fancy schmancy type joints, but no, I couldn't give you much of a list. Couldn't give you much of a list if you were new to town and said, where are the fancy schmancies? I got a couple. That's about it.
They'll have weird names now. Like, where are you going? Yeah. I'm going to Spork. Oh, what's that? Oh, it's the hottest new restaurant. You got to check it out.
Yeah. They're only open for 2 hours a week on Friday nights from 11 to 1.
And when you walk in, they kick you in the nards. It's part of the atmosphere.
So good, the ambiance.
And then they charge you an arm and a leg.
When I have friends that like come back to town, you know, they went to high school here, moved away, and they're back in town. They're like, hey, what's the cool hot spot? I'm like, I don't know. I go to Chili. I don't know.
Now that Fuddruckers is gone, I'm just going to hit Chipotle noodles. That's all I'm going to do now.
Speaking of F-off weeks, Randy Shaver is off all week.
Yeah, he's on like a 2-week road trip.
Yeah, do we know where he's going?
He wouldn't tell us.
Yes, right. That was weird.
Yeah, he does not want to tell us.
He was like, I'll tell you on the road.
Yeah.
Oh, I suppose he didn't want to spoil it for, is he surprising his wife as to where they're going? So if we would have talked about it on the air, somebody would have ruined it for her?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure she knows where they're going. I mean, I have an idea where he's going. Yeah, but he was just, for whatever reason, is he afraid folks are going to follow him? I don't know.
It could be. He's a little paranoid, and he does think he's a much bigger deal than he actually is.
That is true.
Because I remember last week he was saying that his wife has pretty much the whole trunk space, and he has nothing. He's not bringing anything.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. Because they've got that little roadster.
Mm-hmm.
What does that have to do with the mystery of where he's going?
That has really nothing to do with it.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe you were citing that as a clue as to where he was. Okay.
No, I was saying like his wife already knows where they're going.
You almost just blew
pack
it, dude.
for it, yeah.
You almost just talked about his girlfriend.
Don't talk about a side piece on the air.
That's why he doesn't want anybody to know where he's going.
Yep.
All right, so Randy will be gone and maybe replaced.
That's always the danger, right?
Yeah. When you're gone for a stretch of time, people might realize that you're totally unnecessary. Well, that's exciting for him and the old lady. They do this every year, I think, or at least for the last few years.
Yeah,
they go on this.
They like
massive,
to go on this road trip together.
Massive road trip. And
his little roadster.
Yeah, is it a convertible?
Yeah, he loves that thing.
Pimp. What a friggin' pimp. What else is going on around here? Unbelievable weekend for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty uneventful.
Yeah. I went up north. It was a good time with the family up in Alexandria. Beautiful town.
I got to tell you, so my wife and stepdaughter went with some friends to
tell me about that deal.
Taylor Swift
I forgot
Saturday.
about that. This was the biggest deal of all time. Okay.
And it's beyond me, and I don't mean any disrespect to Taylor Swift. I understand how important she is to a lot of people. Mm-hmm. But just the carpet that gets rolled out for her, how many people she can pack into it. I mean, they said over 120,000 fans over 2 days. People from around the world are coming here. They named the day after her, all this kind of stuff. And I was thinking about it. And then, my wife, who doesn't really think too much about this stuff, for a few days was stressed about what to wear. Everyone's planning on what. Apparently there's a big thing, something about friendship bracelets. Even the cops have these friendship bracelets. Yep. And I was trying to think, like, in 20-some years, will they, and this might just be an old guy not understanding, Will they talk about her like we do Prince, Madonna, Michael Jackson, and even Janet Jackson?
Damn good question.
I mean, because obviously her popularity is off the charts. There's nothing more popular, it seems, than Taylor Swift.
Yeah, right. It is. I couldn't tell you a single thing about her. But it's obvious she's beyond your average pop star at this point.
To the part where the city and police are saying, hey, everyone who doesn't have tickets, please don't come hang out outside. I mean, the fact they're worried about that many extra people
sitting
just
outside,
standing outside
a domed stadium just to hear the bass bumping,
whatever's
and
happening.
possibly have a chance to recognize what song is being sung inside. In 20 years, will she be compared to those other people? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm wondering.
If I was more tuned into who she is and what she's about and all the other, I know nothing about current pop music at all, so I can't compare her to anybody.
Yeah, I was just curious about if that was just me not being plugged in to kind of what's huge right now.
That's probably what it is.
Yeah, I definitely think she's a legend. There's no doubt about that. She will definitely be remembered for a very long time.
She's
like
already
some of the
a legend.
bigger artists.
All right, so you're saying she will. Like when you talk about these legendary musicians, you're going to say Taylor Swift.
Yes.
Or people are going to say.
I mean, this tour is one of the biggest tours that's ever happened, and you add in like the pile of Grammys she's already won in her career. Like I think she'll be recognized as one of the all-time greats.
Okay, and yet, please don't misinterpret. I'm not
I know
saying
you're not,
she
yeah.
won't. I was just curious because I don't think of her that way. But then, she writes her own songs. She plays instruments. My wife said it's the best show she's ever been to, right? She's not like a big Taylor Swift fan. She's not a fan, but not like she doesn't know a lot of her songs. But she said the showmanship is the best thing she's ever seen live.
Did you guys see photos of the stage or anything?
No.
Yeah, so cool.
It was bigger than WrestleMania.
I had to stay off of us.
There's nothing bigger than WrestleMania.
That's a granddaddy of them all, Wapple.
No, like the WrestleMania stage is massive, and that rampway is huge.
Sure.
But Taylor Swift, it went all the way across US Bank Stadium. It was insane.
All the way across with a T. I like that.
People were even
Across.
buying restricted view tickets last minute,
Like sitting behind the stage.
where you can't even see her.
Yeah, I didn't see any pictures or I didn't hear much of anything except for somebody said the show was 3.5 F me running sideways hours.
Yeah.
Played over 40 songs.
Yeah, and she
44.
didn't have an opener. No one.
I got to see. There's the headlines I had screenshotted and
3.5 hours.
Yeah, I had to stay off social media. It hurt too much to see all those pictures.
Oh, you wanted to be there?
Yeah, really bad.
Trying to think how long was that friggin' Guns N' Roses show a few years ago. That might have been 3.5 hours. Good Lord.
John Bream of the Star Tribune said his headline, Taylor Swift delivers the most fan-fulfilling concert of all time in Minneapolis.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for that. So
The
there's
most fan-fulfilling concert of all time.
Yeah, the other one, Taylor Swift, awe-inspiring Eras Tour never failed to amaze at Viking Stadium. The reviews were crazy. I mean, and I saw some videos from there where people are just bawling, men and women, watching this. Barsaw Jesus said, I had a friend who went and said it was the best night of her life. She's married with 2 kids, but seeing Taylor Swift was the best night of her life. Somebody else says, y'all haven't seen the Metallica stage. Yes, we have. Why would you assume we haven't seen the Metallica stage?
What Metallica stage?
I don't know if from a Metallica concert, like at US Bank Stadium.
Oh.
Right. Nobody's comparing it to Metallica outside of, I'm telling you, my wife said it was the best show she's been to.
Fair enough.
A lot of people are pointing out, too, I heard a lot of people talk about how long the lines for the women's bathroom were. And then the dude's bathroom is just tumbleweeds blowing by.
Yeah.
Didn't they make some of the men's rooms women's rooms for that reason?
They probably should have.
I thought that I heard they'd done that too.
So, tell me, your wife got home from the show, 1 o'clock in the morning?
Like 1:30 in the morning.
And she was just thrilled with it all.
And she can't, she was. Yesterday she was a wreck. She can't stay out till 1 in the morning.
Oh, that's tough on, I could never, I'd be a mess too.
She was ruined.
I'm glad that everyone had a blast, Good for Taylor Swift. Good for her fans.
I mean, I remember when she first became, when she first started touring and stuff. It was easy to get tickets. My stepdaughter was really into her. She loved it when she was, more of a country act. And just, I don't know, she's a teenager.
She performed a couple free shows at the Mall of America back in the day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine if did she announce today, like, hey, I'm still in Minneapolis. I'm going to go play a show at the Mall of America. That place would be burned to the ground.
Yeah.
There'd be nothing left of it.
There would be no room left in that place. Absolutely.
Free shows at the Mall of America when she first started her career, huh?
Yeah.
Just like Tiffany.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for Tiffany, there'd be no Taylor Swift.
Tiffany
There'd be no
walks that Taylor
malls.
could run.
There'd be no malls.
No
Yeah.
shopping centers whatsoever.
I was at the Mall of America on Saturday, and they had, in one of the big openings, they had like a bracelet making huge station with a DJ playing nothing but Taylor Swift in preparation for the concert that night.
Okay, but did you see Twiggy, though?
Yes, I did.
Nice.
Yep.
Who? Twiggy, the model from England that was in the Blues Brothers. She'd be about 80 years old now.
Water skiing squirrel.
Oh, Twiggy, the water skiing squirrel. You did or did not see the water?
I did see him.
That's awesome.
Did you go to the meet and greet? I heard there was meet and greets.
It closed like right as I was getting there. It was heartbreaking.
That is awful.
Yeah, me and my boyfriend and like 2 other people got turned away, but I
forgot
was pretty
about
close to him.
Somebody told us last week that there was going to be a water skiing squirrel at the Mall of America. I'm glad you got to see him.
There was 3 of them.
3 of them?
Yeah, so they rotate them, so they only do 1 show a day.
Well, who are the other? What are the names of the other water skiing?
Also Twiggy. Twiggy
They're
number
all
1,
named-
number 2, number 3.
I don't like that. That's misleading.
I thought there was only one Twiggy that kind of ruins it for me.
Well, it's like Raven, right? I mean, why can't I think of the...
Ron Scher?
Yeah, Ron Scher's dog. How many ravens have there been? 3?
Well, but he waits for a raven to die.
What happens with the squirrel, too?
Well, she said there were 3 separate water skiing squirrels, all named Twiggy?
Yep, they're all there.
See, I don't like that, Josh.
Why not?
Because what the hell's we get...
Well, it's a common name among squirrels. You're acting... I mean, it's like a Jeff or a John or something like that for human beings.
Give these squirrels some identity. Give them some, what's the word? I had it a minute ago. Some, Josh, what happened? What would you say if as soon as the morning show is over, our next DJ is Josh? And then the guy after that is Josh.
Well, probably better ratings, I'd imagine.
Way better afternoon and evening ratings if they were all.
It's funny you say that. Remember when Lindsay, the woman who comes on after us, when she went on maternity leave, do you remember who filled in for her?
A gal named Lindsay.
Lindsay.
That's right.
Yeah, that messed with me for a while.
Tripped me up.
Spelled differently.
Individuality is the word I was looking for. Give these squirrels some individual. Why they don't all need to be. By the way, real quick. Someone said, Josh, you said people were crying at the, Taylor Swift show.
Yeah.
People were crying, men and women. You ever been to a show and watched a fan be overwhelmed with emotion at the sight of who they were seeing in person?
I usually am that fan.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, you usually are that fan?
Yeah.
It's only ever happened to me with A Day to Remember, because that's always been my favorite band, so... Every time I've seen them, yeah, I shed a tear or 2.
Okay, well, when it wasn't you, where were you at when you saw someone just they broke out? They broke down.
There were a lot of people crying at the Blink-182 show I was at recently.
Come on, seriously.
Shinedown? I'd say Shinedown, because I know they have a couple songs, especially when he does Simple Man at the end. That gets people.
I saw a lot of people crying at Train.
Why aren't you guys giving me straight answers on this?
Really, a Train?
Yeah.
Was it? They were going through a breakup, or what was going on?
Dude, I can see that. Yeah.
Did they run out of their favorite beverage?
No, he proposed during the song "Marry Me."
I would have bawled
the
my
lead singer
eyes
did?
out.
No, this is some dude in the crowd.
Oh, that's the guy you saw crying.
All right. Those weren't the answers I was expecting to hear answers like Josh was discussing these, what's the word? These all-timers like Prince and Madonna. And
like you see videos of the Beatles and stuff like that.
Right. And we got Train, A Night to Remember, and
Blink-182.
Come on.
I guess I've never got a chance to see that many huge artists like that.
Okay,
so.
fair enough.
I see people cry at Foo Fighters shows during like Everlong and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Certain
like
songs can get you going, yeah.
I bet now more than ever.
With Taylor.
Right. All right. My favorite ever was when I went to go see Lionel Richie
Oh,
a few years ago at the State Fair. And I've told you this before, but the camera crew that evening at the fair deserves almost as much credit as Lionel does for putting on a terrific show and playing all of his incredible songs. Because the camera crew was catching these fans, in the element, in the moment, and popping them up on the massive Jumbotron. So not only could you watch Lionel, but you could see the reactions of these people. And there was a lot of people who were overwhelmed by emotion, but my favorite was this bigger dude. He looked like he might have played some football even. And he is holding up against his chest, like you might hold a baby, all of his Lionel Richie and Commodore LPs, records from back in the 80s. He's got every one of them. He brought them to the show. Now, maybe he was going to be afforded backstage passes afterwards and he was going to have Lionel sign them. He was holding them like they were the most beloved, again with the word, items in his life. There's a better word there. Just most cherished items that he owned, holding him against his chest, and he's bawling uncontrollably.
I love that.
I thought that was hilarious. And the camera crew, again, perfectly timed, perfectly captured the moment.
I don't think I've ever seen that at a concert.
Yeah.
Anybody crying.
Another one that came to mind.
I've seen people like at a bar cry when a certain song came on.
Yeah.
At a bar?
I was with you one time. Shinedown. Does that ring any bells?
Wait.
I mean, absolute bawling when Shinedown came on.
Yes, I remember that.
That was so uncomfortable. A girl, we were hanging out with a bunch of people, and one of the girls we were with just started bawling when Shinedown came on. And it was like all the memes you see where you're Homer backing into the bushes,
Yeah.
where you're Peter Griffin sliding up the wall to get out of the window.
I want to make it clear that was Josh's date.
Oh, no, it wasn't my date.
Well, that was the girl you were with that evening.
No, it wasn't. She happened to be in the group. I didn't have a date there. She was just with us.
Weren't those the chicks from the Northwest Metro that we hooked up with?
No.
Oh.
You're thinking of somebody
I hooked
else.
up with the one that I was with.
Remember the one, then she talked about her brother awkwardly? Yeah, I wasn't.
That wasn't your side piece?
No.
Oh.
I'll take credit. She was hot.
Okay, I assumed.
Yeah, no, I had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, in the middle of the night, we're drinking beer. Remember this time? Remember that time? Song comes on. In the middle of the bar. In the middle of the bar.
No crying in the bar.
Yeah, you shouldn't cry at the bar. You're right.
And this wasn't just like tearing up. This was sobbing. That was rough.
One time I was drinking. We got to get moving here. But one time I was drinking at a bar, just a real dump of a roadhouse. Love the place, but there's almost no behavior you should be ashamed of in this type of a joint, right? But the girl I was drinking with, next thing you know, boom! She falls off her bar stool, lands on the floor. And she starts this.
Oh no.
And I said, Jesus, are you all right? Yeah, I'm fine. I'm not hurt or anything. I said, well, it's totally cool. People fall off their bar stools here all the time. It's not a big deal. And I said, what is wrong with you? It's so embarrassing. Everybody's looking at me. There was no coming back. I left. There was no repairing this. I tried to I said, it's fine. It kept going. I left.
That's what you do when you're embarrassed by something. Do something more embarrassing.
Right, to draw attention to what you just did.
They're watching you because you're crying.
What's happening here? Are we in the third grade? Why are we so...
She must have been pretty drunk.
We were a little tuned up, I guess. All right, we got to get going. Jeez, I'm sorry. I just...
Well, hopefully one of you cry on the boat. Tears of joy, of course, but I would like to see it. No, not you, Ashley.
Okay.
We're just getting started here on getting things started is how I should say. We're just getting things started here on F-Off Week. And we'll have more when we return here on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Half-Assed Morning Show.
They're loud, they lose control, they do their little circus act, they're a nuisance.
93X.
CJ Ham for Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. When I'm on the field, I can take anything. But at home with my family, we like everything to be comfortable. That's why I trust the pros at Standard. They've been keeping Minnesotans like me comfortable for over 90 years.
Is your cooling system making strange noises or not cooling properly? Don't wait for an AC breakdown this summer. Get a free in-home estimate with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Schedule your appointment today at standardheating.com.
Stupid news on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Starting off the stupid news, huh? First stupid news news report of the week. And when it's all said and done, when the stupid news is all said and done, I'll have another shot. We'll have another shot at a 4-pack of passes for our booze cruise this Friday. If I start heading off in another direction, holler at me, because we're trying to give away a 4-pack every segment of this morning's program. And then we'll tell you later about how it's going to go on all day. Booze Cruise will be the only prize given away on this friggin' radio station all day long. So, get your text hand ready. This sucks. This is not an ideal evening for anyone. This story comes out of a town called Alpharetta, Georgia. A dude got whooped by another dude with a belt in hand. Wapa, wapa, papa. Belt in hand, whooping the other dude's ass. And this was after the first dude interrupted the second dude who was banging a gal up against a house.
Some people like to incorporate a belt into sex play, do they not?
Sure.
For various purposes?
Yes. Yes, my son. So the story goes like this here. First dude, here's a couple having sex outside in his neighborhood. And that upset him. Maybe because it was a harsh reminder that he wasn't currently getting any. But he went outside to break this couple up. And in the end, the dude half of the outdoor sex couple tuned this poor bastard up with his damn belt.
Well, nobody likes to be interrupted in the middle of something like that, I guess. You've got a job to do.
Yeah.
If you're going to incorporate a belt into sex, does it have to, it's got to be leather, right? Or have some spikes or something?
Yeah.
Like when I get laughed out of sex club, if I brought like a handmade Argentinian men's woven belt. You can't have a woven belt, right? Or
no,
can you?
Josh, no.
I think it would work.
You're right.
Like rope.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, but if we're talking, I think you're thinking strictly whoopings.
Yeah, like, well, I show up and I'm like, all right, let's get kinky, and I take my belt off, and it's one of those woven ones. I think people would make fun of me.
They would make fun of me.
Like, it'd be a boner killer, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would. Sure, you could use that Argentinian, however you said that.
Handmade, yeah.
Handmade. You might be able to use that to tie somebody's wrist together, but I don't think it's going to produce the same sting as a leather belt.
Yeah, and I think I don't know. I mean, if you're into that, you'd want it to look kind of like tough and badass.
That too. Whoopsh.
Yeah, I once tried to bring the belt into play, and she goes, no, absolutely not. I'm like, oh, too far? And she goes, no, I'm fine with belts. It's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle belt buckle. Not doing it for me, pal.
Yeah, I can see how that would turn someone off.
You're not really walking around town with a Teenage Mutant. No. Thank God. Thank God. All right. Tune the guy up with his belt. The cops are now searching for the young fella who dumped the belt whooping on the neighborhood dude. The beating put the neighborhood dude in the hospital, don't you know? There's video of the altercation going around. Now, I'm sure it's annoying to hear a young couple of morons outside your house tearing at each other's gear. You know, you're just trying to watch a ball game or something like that. But in the video, the neighborhood dude who broke him up did appear to instigate the altercation between him and the dude who was getting laid. This is just, I watched the video a couple of times. It was just my opinion. The neighborhood dude did that classic tough guy move where he got right in this kid's face, you know, the nose-to-nose deal that hard-ons do to start trouble. You saw that too, right, Josh?
Yeah, you know, that is always kind of a weird thing to me, that move, right? Hey, I'm going to get real close where it seems like I could kiss you, or we might fight.
It's just my opinion, he didn't need to do that. The young guy who was, you know, tearing off a piece was putting his pants back on. I would imagine he and his hot lady would have just walked away if the neighborhood guy hadn't done his, you know, little Triple H imitation and gotten all nose to nose with him. The young dude didn't like the nose to nose bit, so he punched the neighborhood dude. The sexually active guy walked away. The neighborhood guy followed him, and then the belt slapping took place.
I'd be kind of embarrassed if I got beaten by a belt as an adult.
Absolutely.
Tough coming back from that, isn't it?
I just got a Michelangelo imprint from the belt buckle.
The homeowner's wife told the local news that her husband had broken bones in his face and a broken rib. Oof. She found him unconscious. So obviously the guy with the belt took it too far. But I don't know. I'm just saying, the neighborhood watchman guy with that nose-to-nose bit, you're trying to start something in that situation.
Oh, here, Union Drywall Jesus. I feel the same way. He said, I think if I got beat up by a guy with a boner and a belt, I'm leaving the cops out of it. Me too. I'm not going to make the news for that.
I'm going home.
I'm not pressing any charges. I don't want any attention. I don't want anybody to know what happened.
Now, here's another line I think I would go with, too. The homeowner guy, the neighborhood watchman, told police he didn't hit back because of how young the other guy looked. Yeah, I think I'd go with that line, too. When I got whooped horribly by a guy half my age, I didn't swing back because he was just a kid. I think I might use that one. The cops said next time call them, and they'll break up any outdoor wheelbarrow position sex that's happening up against your aluminum siding. A belt beating, dude. That sounds painful.
We got the belt. We were kids.
Oh, yeah.
That, the wooden spoon.
Ooh.
Yeah, that sound, like, I do not like that sound when you can, snap the belt. It just, nope.
You ever get a hairbrush?
No.
That is ouchie.
We had the spoon.
We never had a wooden spoon because my parents never provided food for us, so they didn't cook. And why would you have a wooden spoon if you're not going to make meals for your children? What was the other one? Hairbrush? No, we weren't much for. What's the word when you shower and
grooming?
We weren't much for
hygiene.
Hygiene in the house, so we didn't have.
Well, these were for beatings.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
Well, I'm saying, like, specifically, there was a beating brush, a beating
so nobody
spoon.
brushed their hair.
Not that I'm aware of.
They just bought it for beating. But my dad certainly had the belt, and that hurt.
Well, when you hear Dad taking the belt buckle and doing it, you're into big trouble.
Other listeners are texting in now with their parents' preferred form of punishment. There were closed fist punches to the face. There were yardstick beatings. Just for the record. Now, last week, speaking of parenting, a Father's Day celebration down there in Mexico went sideways. Sideways. Over 100 families turned up for this Father's Day celebration in a Mexican town called Huehueton. But apparently a lot of them were unaware that the mayor of the town had hired a pile of strippers to show up and dump lap dances on all the dads. And a lot of the moms were pithed and stormed on out of there. And now the mayor's catching a lot of hell over this. The mayor goes by the name of Miguel Villalobos. He organized the event. He hired a band. There was a comedian. There was a raffle. Who doesn't love a live comic and but then here comes the strippers charging in, asses out. Dads were motorboating ass cheeks within seconds, and the wives were not impressed. Not impressed. Now, the story here says, in fairness to Mayor Villalobos, his announcement of the event on Facebook had made it clear that the celebration was aimed exclusively at men. But I guess that info slipped by the wayside for some of the folks who showed up. Hell, some couples had young kids in tow.
Oh, no.
And kids got to see their dad sit down and get his face glazed by 20-year-old girls covered in glitter and body oil. I heard one of the dads got trapped in the two-stripper seesaw. Oh, God, have you watched the seesaw?
No.
Do you know that move? Oh, my God, this guy was just sitting in his chair waiting to hear his number called for the raffle, and they got him dead to rights in the seesaw. He was almost unconscious when it was over. Let me tell you what that is if you've never watched the seesaw gimmick. Josh, didn't you watch that with me?
I don't remember the seesaw, no.
It's when two girls they sit on your shoulders. Okay, one with her crotch up against the back of your head, and the other with her crotch up against your face. And then the two girls extend their arms and hold hands, and then they're able to seesaw back and forth.
It's fun.
This is too weird to be erotic.
And then, Nelsonowski, our former promotions guy with the ponytail. Nelsonowski from years ago. His bachelor party, he got seesawed into oblivion.
Oh, I heard that was a beating he received.
Yeah, weren't you sitting there?
No, I wasn't there.
Oh, for Christ's sake. He got seesawed.
Yeah, a few people said that he got his ass kicked.
He did.
I've seen bachelors be what I believe to be criminally assaulted up on stage. Mm-hmm. And I heard his was a keeper.
Yeah. We got to get Wapple, you're probably going to get married one day at your bachelor party. I'm paying for nothing but seesaw rides. You are going to that little Muppet beard that you wear. It's going to be a mess.
Yeah, I predict, Wapple, you're going to be like a couple bachelor parties I was at where the groom-to-be, he's very animate. We are not going to a strip club, guys. Not going to happen. And by the end of the night, your tie's going to be wrapped around your head, and you're going to be leading the charge into Rick's Cabaret.
Just a face full of glitter.
Yep. You're going to strap on like just dollars wrapped around it in a belt, much like you would weaponry.
Like a bandolero of just dollars.
Exactly.
The funny thing about the seesaw, aside from the physical act is that, if you're the victim of the seesaw, it's kind of like drowning. You only have a small amount of time to call for help, right? Before they're can't, and then I can't breathe, and they're not very sympathetic.
Yeah, I think I'd be kind of mad.
Yeah, that doesn't sound pleasant.
Stop! I can't. That kind of a thing. Now, some dads at this Father's Day event let her buck. There were some families who scurried out of there, and there were plenty of dads who said, well, this is not what we signed up for. But there were some dads where this was a dream come effing true. I saw some pictures.
You can see some pictures and video on 93x.com, too.
Some of these dads.
The video's hilarious. One dad's like dancing with one of them.
Didn't he get his shirt off?
Yeah.
I don't know why he had to take his shirt off. But some of these dads were lying on the ground. They just lied flat on their backs, and the girls just bombed them. But plenty of people are upset by this. Mayor Villalobos hasn't said anything publicly yet, and he might want to be careful about what he says. Because they're mad, Cubby.
Yeah, it sounds that way. I don't know how they do things down there, but it seems like that'd be reasonable to assume. A couple people might be upset by this. Even though we said this is for dads, there could be a couple people that aren't going to like it. Now get over here and seesaw me.
Oh! You got no chance. You can't go anywhere. You got two girls sitting on your shoulders.
Not your fault.
I don't know how this happened.
Hey, Wapple. Got some valuable advice for you here from a listener. Only poops while punched in Jesus. When it comes time for your Muppet bachelor party, pre-cut your underwear, son. Just take a scissors and just cut the elastic in the back, front, whatever you're comfortable with of your underwears, because when the strippers pull them off of you, it will save you from having your testicles and penis damn near come with them.
That's really good advice.
Right, that's smart.
Pre-cut underwears.
Your thoughts now on your bachelor party. Is it okay to go to a strip club?
Yeah.
Really?
But I don't think I'd want to.
Here we go.
2 beers in you, you'll be leading the charge.
Here we go.
I'm just really not a strip club guy, but my girlfriend definitely would go to the strip club.
Really?
Oh, yeah, she loves it.
Can we go to have her be the bachelor for your bachelor party instead of you? She sounds more fun.
Yeah, her party sounds awesome, Wapple.
Let me tell you something, Wapple. And I mean this. If she shows up for your bachelor party, do you think the guy who got beaten with a belt got a whooping? wait till you see what I'm done with you. If she shows up for your bachelor party, I will beat you unmerciful.
No, that would never happen.
Write that down, Cubby.
Yeah, I know. You shouldn't have said that. If she says it's going to happen, Wapple, it's going to happen. Right?
Beat you unmerciful.
Let's role play. I'll be her.
I'll talk like she does.
That was spot on.
Honey, I'm going to join you for your bachelor party.
No,
I'm going to join you.
No, it's all right.
Nah, that's not going to happen. You're not going to say no. Not even the first time.
Yep.
I love you to death, but I know you well enough to know that you're going to say, okay, fine.
Yep.
And then you're going to pass Nick a note. Please don't beat me.
The little heart.
I wanted to say no, but I couldn't.
Now, you guys know me. I don't like to go too long without checking TikTok, so an influencer can tell me how I should be living my life. Specifically, I don't know what I would do if it wasn't for all the social media influencers and their genius underground knowledge on health and wellness. That's where their value really shows itself. And here's the latest. I will admit, this advice sounds a little iffy, but I'm not an influencer. I'm just a mere mortal, wandering through life using my own common sense and life experience as a guide. Or sometimes, Josh, I know this is a radical way of thinking these days, but sometimes I've actually even asked for assistance from highly educated doctors and other medical professionals. You know, folks who save people's lives on a daily basis. Sometimes I've sought their advice on general health and wellness issues. I know.
Pathetic.
What a sheeple.
Yeah, I don't know why you would ever do something like that.
Well,
or admit it.
Because what do they know, right? What do they know? But I always check TikTok first, and here's the latest. Tell me what you think. An influencer dude, well, actually, multiple influencers are backing this. They claim that men can improve is the word. Men can improve their jaw lines by taping their mouths shut overnight. Before you go to sleep, you go ahead and tape your own mouth closed.
Okay.
Somebody's girlfriend put him up to this.
Yeah. He snores or something.
Yeah. You talk in your sleep. Stop it.
In order to obtain a chiseled jawline, like Josh.
Stop with
You do have quite a square jaw.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. Right?
Well, I sleep with tape over my mouth.
Is that how he got it?
Now, mouth tapers say to make sure you poke holes in the tape so, you can breathe. But medical professionals are saying different. One surgeon, but what does he know? It's unlikely, this surgeon said, that mouth taping will change the bone structure of a person's jawline.
Who's that surgeon to try to shoot down a very well-respected TikTok theory?
Unlikely, he said. Another doctor mentioned mouth breathers. Okay, this is interesting. If you're a mouth breather while you sleep, it can change your face over time. So if you lay on your back and your mouth is wide open, with time it can slightly change your face. But wearing mouth tape will not show any improvements to bone structure. Another doctor just upped and said, "This is one of the most dangerous trends I've heard of. I'm quite concerned." To put it quite simply, intentionally obstructing your airways during sleep is a terrible idea.
It's weird. I wonder how many of these TikTokers believe what they're doing or if it's a bit. Let's just see if we can get people to sleep with tape over their mouths.
It's a good question.
Although, let's patent some mouth tape. Let's try and make a quick buck while we can. While it's popular.
93X half-ass morning show mouth tape. Buy a roll on the booze cruise.
Here's another one. This is a sleep doctor. I went to see a sleep doctor once. They probably don't want me coming back, although I need to go back. I caught sleep apnea a few years ago. I need to do something about it. I'll tell you my sleep doctor story where they might not want me back. But there is a sleep doctor out there, speaking of all these, wacky theories on how to help you live longer, this and all that. This guy is from the University of California named Eric Prather. He put out a book about helping you sleep better. Instead of a cup of coffee to keep you going when you're tired, he says you don't want that caffeine in your system. Later on when you try to go to bed, it'll keep you awake. So he recommends you stick your head in a freezer.
I tried it last week.
Yeah?
Yeah, and it did. I think it might have been just a placebo effect.
Sure.
But it kind of worked.
Did it?
Yep.
Kind of rejuvenate you a little bit?
But I didn't do it very long because it was here in the building. It was last Friday morning, I think.
Oh, okay.
And I was worried somebody would walk in and think I was a psychopath.
Yeah.
Not to mention those freezers are never cleaned, and I'm sure I have some sort of disease.
Yeah,
Most
you caught
definitely
something.
do.
Those things are pretty gnarly.
Oh, it reeks.
Uh-huh.
But I did try it.
So, this Eric Prather, the sleep doctor, he says he also advocates things like going for a brisk walk when you're tired during the day, or putting on some, as my dad would say, music. Put on some music. But his more obscure theory is put your head in the freezer for a few seconds. The brief shock of cold activates your arousal system. Boy, mine could use some help. My arousal system. Don't leave your head in there for too long, Skis. Just a few seconds to give yourself a boost. And folks have gotten a kick out of this on social media. And they're posting pictures of themselves with their heads in the freezer.
Yeah, that would be a real kind of off-putting thing to walk in on somebody doing.
I was afraid of doing that here.
Especially at work. Yeah, I'd have some questions.
Well, I could show them the article, I guess. But, I mean, splashing cold water on your face helps.
Yeah.
I've had that. That moving around thing has helped, too. So.
Yeah, I mean, when you're tired, when you're driving, that's a big thing, right? Like, blast the AC, roll the windows down.
Sure.
Rolling the windows down always helps.
That cold air.
Real quick, I went to go see a sleep doctor. One of these sleep apnea joints, and this was a dick move on my part, but I was in a, I don't know. They brought me in and talked to me about, how often are you waking up in the middle of the night not breathing? There's so many people out there who have sleep apnea, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And they said, well, we can have you sleep here and put a bunch of machines on you to find out just how bad it is. Or you can go home with this machine, put it on yourself, and bring it back in the morning, and then we'll read the results. And I said, well, I don't think I could sleep here. I'll bring it home. I brought it home, and then I chickened out. There's something about having sensors on my heart and lungs and head. I creeps me out, right? So I never put the damn thing on. I just brought it back the next day, and I walked into the office, and I said, yeah, I didn't have the balls to put this thing on. Maybe I'll come back some other time, and we'll try to straighten out this funny little sleep apnea problem that I got going. And I put the machine on the counter, and the lady said, it happens. You're not the first. It's always kind of unnerving to have all those things on your body. So, yeah, just $250, and you can go. What? And I said, $250 for what? Well, you had the machine overnight. We can't just hand that. And I was like, well, and I wrote out a check, and in the memo, I wrote, what a ripoff. Douche thing to do, but I did it anyway. What a ripoff. All right, real quick, for you true crime people, you might want to think about relocating to Tucson, Arizona, because there's a gig out there for you. By damn. If you've ever wanted to be a detective but not a cop, now's your chance. The Tucson Police Department is creating a new position that's exactly that, a detective but not a cop. The job title is Professional Staff Investigator. You basically get to be a detective without the normal requirement of 3 years as a cop first.
That'd be so much fun.
Hi, I'm an underqualified detective.
Yeah.
Where's my caseload?
I'd constantly just say, I don't know. I don't think my gut likes that.
That be your line?
Got to go with the gut.
You better work on that line.
Yeah, I think you got to come up with something better.
I don't think my gut likes that. We're dealing with a real professional here.
They always trust their gut in those shows.
Give her a badge and a gun.
This does require some training. You go through 7 weeks at a police academy, 3 months of field training. You also need at least an associate's degree and 2 years of experience in a related field. Now, the examples they give for that include public safety, loss prevention. There you go, Josh. Crime scene management, forensics. So, for most of us, that just screwed us right there. But for the rest of you who are still qualified, I'll keep going.
Well, I'm qualified. I got an associate's.
Oh, you do?
I do have an associate's.
Bingo.
I have more than 2 years of loss prevention.
Word.
And I went through the Prior Lake Citizens Academy, which is 2 weeks of... I'm essentially... Put me on any special forces. You've got SWAT teams, CERT teams, Vice. I can do it. I've had 2 weeks in the Prior Lake Citizens Academy.
Look at you, man.
I've always told you I thought you would be an incredible police officer. I've always told you that. I wouldn't, to this day, I don't doubt it. After the training, you get to do most of the stuff real detectives do. Visiting crime scenes, collecting evidence, drinking coffee, smoking cigarettes, interviewing suspects, and busting bad guys. Now, what was that?
You go ahead.
Oh, you don't get a gun. They give you a wooden gun replica.
You shoot it and a bang flag comes out.
It's almost more embarrassing than just not having a gun at all.
One movie, the other guys. You can't be the first person on scene. You won't be able to make arrests. Technically, you're still a civilian. It pays $22 to $33 an hour. They're not just hiring one person. They're looking for 20.
Community members help solve cases, so we want to get those people. We want to get that untapped potential. They're going to go through a 7-week academy, then they're going to go through 12 weeks of field training, and then once they're done, their day's going to look very similar to our other detectives.
So they say they're doing this because the general public already helps with investigations just through deep dives on Google, is how they say it. So they want to, quote, get that untapped potential. Apply online. The cutoff date is July 24th.
That has been documented. I mean, plenty of times the public has helped solve crime.
Yep.
And how many times do the cops say, hey, we need some help here? We can't figure this one out.
Yeah, right. At the very least, it sounds like a gig that'll get you laid. Don't you think?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I can't tell. It's like on the border of being nerdy and cool.
Yeah.
It's just right there on the fence.
It is. I'm a detective. Oh, do you have a gun? No, I do not. Do you have the ability to arrest people? No.
What qualifies you? I'm really good at Google.
Yeah.
Like, incredibly good.
I have this toy badge.
All right, here we go. All morning long, we're giving away Booze Cruise tickets. And this particular spot we're in is no different. Right now, on the Luther Bloomington Kia text line, text TIDE, T-I-D-E, to 651-989-9393 for a shot to win a 4-pack of tickets to the Half-Assed Morning Show Booze Cruise this Friday in Stillwater. The prize is furnished by Stillwater Riverboats. The gig is sponsored by Anytime Bail Bonds. Good luck. Again, that word is TIDE, 651-989-9393.
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Hey, folks. All right, listen. I'm so not in the mood for you guys. Okay, today's Monday, all right? So stop doing your stupid radio thing, all right? So just keep it down, okay? Just stop doing what you're doing.
I agree with everything that man said. I will not bother you for too long here. We're running late, and we want to get to some more Booze Cruise tickets. As far as sports goes, the Twins won yesterday. They won their series in Detroit, and I'm really pumped about some Timberwolves news. We'll cover this when Brad Ryder joins us here in about a half hour. No Randy Shaver all week. He's on a road trip with the old lady. Oh, man, they're trying some new things, I bet.
Oh, you're not kidding.
Trying some new things. So we'll check in with Brad Ryder at 7:30. Josh's news is coming up next. More Booze Cruise tickets.
Right now on the Luther Bloomington Kia text line, text RIVER to 651-989-9393 for a shot at 4-pack of tickets to the 93X Booze Cruise this Friday in Stillwater.
Half-Assed Morning Show.
They're loud, they lose control, they do their little circus act, they're a nuisance.
93X.
CJ Ham for Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. When I'm on the field, I can take anything, But at home with my family, we like everything to be comfortable. That's why I trust the pros at Standard. They've been keeping Minnesotans like me comfortable for over 90 years.
Is your cooling system making strange noises or not cooling properly? Don't wait for an AC breakdown this summer. Get a free in-home estimate with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Schedule your appointment today at standardheating.com.
Half-assed morning show. 93X.
Visitor voyeurism has always been around for a while. Obviously, that deals with peeping toms. When you can do it remotely, it presents more of a difficulty in trying to locate who the suspect is.
Sometimes when you hear a buzzing noise coming from the bathroom your mom's using, the source is worse than you actually think. Police in Rhode Island arrested a man accused of peering into a woman's bathroom using a drone. Police responded to the woman's home Wednesday night. She told officers she was preparing to take a shower when she heard a buzzing noise coming from outside. Initially believing the noise to be coming from her pool, police said the woman went out to her backyard to investigate. Once outside, however, she saw a drone hovering next to her bathroom window. The drone quickly moved away when the woman approached, but it hit a branch and fell to the ground. She grabbed the drone before it took off and submerged it in her pool to disable it and then called police. The operator was eventually determined to be Christopher Jones, a man identified by police as a convicted sex offender.
Jesus.
Jones admitted to flying the drone and was taken into custody at the home he shares with his mother.
What the hell is wrong with people like that? Jesus.
Just a loud-ass drone right outside your window. A woman's been charged after a baggie of methamphetamine was found on the floor of a daycare facility.
Miss Nikki got arrested because she had illegal substances. I was very confused, quite devastated, very shocked.
The manager at Kids Play Child Care and Preschool in Missouri left a bag of meth on the floor of the facility's infant room, which had 8 infants in it at the time.
The young kids, they're crawling around, they put everything in their mouth. I mean, my daughter's older, and she puts everything in her mouth still. I think about, on field trips, she was driving my child. On different occasions, my child was in the vehicle with her.
Officers said an investigation indicated the baggie belonged to 36-year-old Nicole Doster, and when police searched her purse, they found another baggie containing meth. An administrator of the facility said a teacher had found the bag and immediately contacted authorities. The administrator said Doster was the manager and had been there for 2 years and had passed a background check and had no issues. She was fired immediately. Luckily, no children were harmed.
That ain't right.
I mean, taking care of that many infants would be difficult, but all high on meth, that'd be even more difficult, I imagine.
Kids get a little crazy when they get on the meth.
Be overstimulating.
What appeared to be a pizza shop in North Hollywood was really cooking up illegal THC concentrates. The illicit super lab, as police called it, located next to a pet hospital, looked to be a functioning commercial kitchen. But instead of pizza, there was batches of THC honey oil in the boxes and on the cooling racks. We've heard of secret ingredients, but this takes the pie, LAPD posted to social media. It seems like criminals are getting more creative by the day, from faux vending machines to pizza-making trickery. We are well aware of these sneaky things, keeping our city safe, one clever bust at a time. This super pizza lab, quote unquote, won't be making any more deliveries, the Post read. The bust comes after pounds of heroin and fentanyl, along with guns and cash, were sniffed out at a vending machine by an LAPD canine last Tuesday.
Pretty sneaky.
Yeah, you may remember that story. Coolest vending machine of all time. 2 Toronto police officers accused of stealing whiskey they recovered during an arrest were both charged after a tracking device led investigators to one of their homes. The cops were charged criminally after they allegedly stole 2 bottles of alcohol seized following the arrest of a suspect April 12th. At the time, police said the stolen items were recovered from one of the officers' homes and a vehicle that belonged to the other officer, but few other details were provided. Documents released last week, however, shed more light onto the case. They state both officers had responded to a reported theft and took a male suspect wanted on several outstanding warrants into custody. At the time of the arrest, they were allegedly in possession of 2 stolen bottles of Johnny Walker Black Label whiskey. Those bottles were never submitted to the 51 Division property locker system. You paraded the arrested male in relation to the hold-up squad case and never disclosed there was a seizure of alcohol during the arrest of the male, the allegation said. You and PC Thomas Victor were later observed on CCTV leaving the station in uniform, each carrying a box of Johnny Walker liquor. You walk through the station parking lot to the area of your personal cars. Unbeknownst to you, the box in your possession contained a tracking device, a police spokesperson said. James and Victor were previously charged with theft under $5,000, possession of property obtained by crime, and breach of trust.
That's really friggin' stupid and embarrassing.
I know. Like,
you're stealing booze.
Throw away your career for some booze.
What are you, a ninth grader? Stealing booze from people?
I mean, I don't know. Johnny Walker Black Label, is that?
I think that's fancy.
It's nicer, yeah.
But it's not something you couldn't just go into Total Wine and More and
for
get
God's
or someplace?
sake. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
The 3 people involved in a home invasion in Seattle, they threatened an eviction while armed. They threw a victim's cat. And they even stole a patrol car. Around midnight, June 15th, police were called to a home for a report of a home invasion.
She had barricaded herself in a bathroom. She was calling a report that individuals were inside the home, one of them being armed.
According to court documents, she said 3 masked burglars came into her home through a window. She said they dragged her out of bed, threw her against the wall, while they demanded she pack up her things and leave. One of the men even picked up her cat and tossed it.
Man, Wample, imagine someone picking up your cat Minnow and tossing it. That sumbitch is in line for a one-winged angel, isn't he?
Mhm.
Oh, man.
Things are not going to turn out.
The suspects claimed to know the owner of the house, throwing her belongings all over the place. When officers arrived, 3 suspects were running to a car. When that car took off, it went into a ditch, and the suspects ran away with officers following. 2 suspects, one of whom was armed, was taken into custody. The third jumped into a police car and took off. A trooper was looking for the suspect when the stolen police car came out of an alley and hit the trooper's SUV, T-boning him. The suspect, who troopers say is believed to have been impaired, was immediately arrested.
Man, these guys are dicks.
I love the don't quit attitude that guy has.
Ooh, police car. A Missouri woman chased down her sister's stolen car and allegedly shot 2 people inside after the vehicle crashed and caught fire. Another don't quit attitude, actually. 32-year-old Francesca Jones was driving with her 3 kids in a St. Louis suburb when her sister's Dodge Challenger, which had been stolen a day earlier, passed by. Jones hightailed after the Challenger, which collided with a truck at an intersection, then veered off the road before catching fire. As the Dodge burned, Jones allegedly got out of her car and shot the 2 occupants of the stolen ride, with one of them firing back at her. Jones told investigators she wanted to force the car to a stop by ramming it. She was arrested at the site of the crash. Thankfully, the chase and subsequent shooting caused no fatalities.
Well, what the young kids make of all this, do you think, Josh?
I don't know. They don't say exactly how old they were, but either a coolest or worst mom on the face of the planet, depending on their age. She does not mess around. Holy cow.
High-speed chase, a burning vehicle, shots fired.
Because the car was stolen.
Imagine you're a 7-year-old in the back of that car. You don't even got to watch TV.
No injuries were reported after a car crashed into a house in the North Metro. Police in Fridley say officers responded shortly after 1:30 p.m. Friday on a report of a crash. They learned the motorist had been rounding the cul-de-sac when they accelerated into an adjacent garage. Whoops. The house suffered minor structural damage, and police say drugs and alcohol not a factor in that crash.
1:30 in the morning, you have to assume.
Well, yeah, and you crashed into a house in a cul-de-sac?
Yeah.
It was 1:30 p.m. I'm sorry if I said
gotcha.
the morning.
Oh, I think I must have just assumed.
Yeah, they were not drunk. An 18-year-old man was arrested Thursday in Daytona Beach Shores, Florida, accused of stabbing his mother amid an argument over his life choices and dog diarrhea. An officer responding to the mother's 911 call reported locating her son, identified as Charles, walking toward them with his hands in the air. Charles told detectives he and his mom had argued the night before due to their dog having defecated on its pee pads, adding that his mother told him that he needed to get his life together. The argument angered him to the point he wanted to stab her, he allegedly said, and he described choosing the smallest knife from the knife block and placing it where he knew it would be at a later time. Charles said another argument between the two began Thursday, again concerning his life choices and the dog diarrhea. As the mother told her son he needed to tell her whenever the dog had diarrhea, apparently from medication that the dog required, Charles told police he retrieved the knife from earlier and then stabbed her in the shoulder. After being taken in for processing, he told police he premeditated the stabbing, clarifying he intended to do it either after they went out to dinner following Wednesday night's argument or sometime on Friday. He was kind of loosey-goosey on that.
When were you going to stab your mother? Well, I had a couple ideas, actually.
Yeah, nothing confirmed, just kind of when the mood struck.
Oh, ideas brewing. Man.
Though he initially said he wanted to scare his mother with the stabbing, he now advised police he would have killed her if she fought back.
Oh,
man, that's not good. It's your mother.
I don't see what her point is about him and his life choices. I think she was way off on that. A man was caught faking a slip and fall inside a Georgia Kroger store, and now there's a warrant for his arrest.
Wait a minute, was he going to sue the joint for?
Yep. How embarrassing. A 40-year-old told Kroger workers he fell in a product which spilled while shopping.
Mm-hmm.
The suspect reported the incident to his insurance company with the intent to seek damages through a personal injury lawsuit. However, investigators said security video had showed him carefully lowering himself into the spill on purpose.
That's friggin' hilarious. I love that.
Sitting down slowly.
I do like those videos. There's one that stands out, an older guy. He's over at a pop machine, and he takes some of the ice, puts it on the ground, and then slowly brings himself down.
Oh, no!
Oh, no! Investigators said hilarious security video showed him lowering himself. To try and throw authorities off his trail, the man gave false information when he spoke with investigators. However, police were not fooled, and now there's a warrant for his arrest.
The craziest thing is that if I was at a grocery store and I slipped on something and fell, I'd be like, oh gosh, I'm so dumb. Like, I can't, my first thought would never be like, oh yes, I can sue.
You got to come around to that. I mean, everybody's doing it. I don't got to tell you guys this, but in the documentary called Friday, Ezell tried to sue the convenience store. He pretended to slip and fall. If I remember right, Josh, he wanted $50,000, but he would settle out of court for $25. There went Ezell. And then Ezell narked on Smokey when Smokey was taking a dump. Well, you guys know that already.
Yeah.
I've considered suing Hy-Vee because I had a dream I slipped and fell and wanted to
That might hold up.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I'll consult the lawyer. The Columbus, Indiana Parks Department confirmed what was found hanging out of a toilet in a park bathroom, a dead octopus. You can see this on 93x.com. Somebody pooped out an octopus.
I'll be damned. What part of the world is this?
Indiana.
Is that like a...
It's landlocked.
No, it's not. It's got that ocean on the one side of it.
Yeah, that's
they're surrounded by ocean.
Mm-hmm. And someone pooped out an octopus.
Yeah, a big one. The department's director, Mark Jones, confirmed the animal was found in a bathroom Thursday morning. Jones said it was dead when found. It's unclear how the octopus got into the restroom, and Jones said it was eventually disposed of. It's going to be more difficult to take a pee in Rochester. The city closed the restrooms at all local parks and recreation facilities on Friday to allow for cleaning of recent vandalism and extreme messiness.
Wow, all of them.
According to a news release, Rochester police and parks employees are collaborating to address various instances at Soldiers Field Memorial Park and other parks across the city. However, park visitors won't be completely without options when they got to go. The city says porta potties will be available at the impacted locations as they're less prone to the incidents which are occurring at the picnic shelter restrooms, they said. It's intended to be a temporary solution until the vandalism and frequent messes can be reduced, said the release. The nature of the vandalism has not been specific.
Oh, they're really effing things up down in Rochester?
I guess people can't be adults about this.
Well, when I was a kid, whenever we go to Rochester, we'd spend most of our time just kind of playing in the ocean.
Looking for octopi.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that.
It was almost like being in Indiana.
A new study found that yellow cars lose less of their value over 3 years than cars painted any other color. The website IC Cars analyzed the price of over 1.6 million three-year-old vehicles to put together the data. Discovered the average car loses 22.5% of its value over 3 years. However, yellow cars only lose 13.5%, which represents a significant difference in terms of resale value. It's not necessarily that yellow is popular. Instead, IC Cars executive analyst Carl Brewer said that demand outstrips supply. Beige takes second place overall in the study. Third place went to orange, which lost 18.5% of their value during the same period. Gray cars fall right on the national average, 22.5% of their value over 3 years. Brown finished second to last with a 24% drop. Black cars not far behind. Gold is the least desirable color.
Oh, no.
Brewer said every year consumer preferences shift, but one component remains consistent. Common colors like black and silver are never the best for resale value. He said there are too many cars available in those colors to elevate that value.
School buses are sitting pretty then.
Yeah, I'm in the market for a good school bus, actually.
I can't think of a time I've ever seen a yellow car besides school bus.
I'm sure you have.
You can't think of a time you've ever seen a yellow car.
Well, taxis, but
oh yeah, taxis.
You've probably seen like a Corvette or something that's yellow.
Oh, like a fancy car. Okay, I was picturing like a Subaru or something. I'm like, I don't think they even do yellow.
Did every one of us have a friend growing up whose first car was a really crappy yellow car and we called it the Pisser?
No, I don't think so.
That's awesome.
Fair enough.
My first car was painted with a paint roller, but it was two tones of blue.
That's how you do it.
That's fancy right there.
That's how you effing do it,
you
Josh.
Couldn't take that through a car wash, I'll tell you that much. Boy, was that a piece of garbage.
My buddy Dio, he drove the Pisser.
Right now in the Luther Bloomington Kia text line, text the word cruise to 651-989-9393, and we'll get you a shot to a 4-pack of tickets to our Booze Cruise this Friday night, all this morning, and then all day long. We'll be giving away 4 packs of tickets to the Booze Cruise. We'd love it if you could join us.
We might have a pretty good crowd on this thing.
Sounds that way, yeah. Giving away a lot of tickets today. A lot of drunkards are going to be on that thing. Furnished by Stillwater Riverboat, sponsored by Anytime Bail Bonds. April on Parks and Recreation, Aubrey Plaza's 39 today. Ron Swanson on Parks and Recreation, Nick Offerman, 53. Then Sean Hayes, Jack on Will and Grace, Larry and the Three Stooges, along with Jason Bateman and Will Arnett. He's a host of the popular podcast Smartless. He's 53.
Who's that?
Sean Hayes.
Sean Hayes. You mentioned the Three Stooges. The movie made about, well, it wasn't made about the life of the Three Stooges. It was a modern Three Stooges movie made, 20 years ago?
Or was it that long ago? It was a while ago.
I'm just taking a guess. That is one of the most underrated effing comedies I've ever seen. The dudes who portray the Three Stooges are so effing perfect.
Well, Sean Hayes, was it Larry David?
Larry David played Sister Mary.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Larry David played a woman. I don't remember the... Will Sasso, I think, is the name of the guy who played Curly. At any rate, you can look it up. It is so effing funny, specifically because the 3 guys who play the Three Stooges are brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
How long ago was that movie?
2012.
2012? Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, who was the other guy?
Chris Diamantopoulos.
Uh-huh. And Will Sasso and Sean Hayes?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Effing outstanding. But then again, maybe if you never watched the Three Stooges as a kid, maybe you won't get it. But for those who do know the Three Stooges, you'll love it. Just a little, if you hadn't tried that one yet, give it a shot.
Yeah, not bad. I'm a Sean Hayes fan as well. That's 93X News.
KARE 11's Randy Shaver.
Got a fat ass and a bad attitude.
On the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Yeah, I got a job at an ice cream shop. Eric, you can't just sit there at a table. Yeah, I can. It's Monday. So haven't you heard of Bare Minimum Mondays? I don't care if it's Bare Minimum Mondays. Eric, you need to come... Break time. I'll be back.
Well, where is your friend?
He hasn't come back from his break yet. Hey, Butters. Hey, Eric, where are you? I wasn't feeling the best, so I decided to work from home. Eric, you need to come here right now, or we're both going to get fired. Okay, I guess so. But don't forget that tomorrow is Take It Easy Tuesday.
Take It Easy Tuesday. What was the first one? F Yourself Monday.
Pretty close, yeah.
Bare Minimum Monday.
Bare Minimum. This is F off week. Forget about Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all the days of the week. The whole week is an F off week for us. We're very excited. We're starting this next segment with a little bit of a surprise, a pleasant surprise. Somehow here, we thought Randy Shaver was taking the whole week off for his all-American road trip vacation with the wife, and then now here he is on his cellular phone. Randy?
I had to get away from her.
This isn't so much of a road trip as it is an escape.
It is. It's going to be an escape every morning at 7:30, yes.
I see. And hello to Brad Ryder as well.
Good morning.
Brad, how are you and the wife getting along?
Pretty good. We're not taking a road trip this week, but, I was just around her family the entire weekend at my daughter's grad party, so I could use a little break, too.
Good point.
Well, this is great. I don't know how we got wound up thinking you were taking the week off.
No, I not at all.
It's a nice surprise, though. That's good. We thought we were going to have to be Randy-less all week. That's awesome.
No.
Well, now, are you going to fill us in on where you are, where you're going? Because you were being very secretive about it last week.
I was going to say, make a guess. Take a guess.
I'm no good.
Okay, I'm going to guess because I happened to notice a Facebook post or something that you were visiting one of your sons. So I'm going to guess this morning you woke up in Missouri.
All right. See, good guess. Brad's going with Missouri. Josh and I never travel. We barely know what's a little ways east, west, north, or south of the Twins. We barely know. So
how about if I give you a clue?
Go ahead. So Brad is incorrect. It's not Missouri?
That is correct. Brad is incorrect. How about...
It is correct.
Wait, when did you leave? First and foremost, how long have you been on the road?
We left on Friday morning.
Okay, I'm going to guess...
After radio.
I'm going to guess Montana. That's the place to go now.
Yeah, there's a
Fine, I'll take a guess. I think you're going to go up to Canada. I think you're going to Canada.
Wow.
No, I'm going to amend my guess since you left Friday.
You don't
I
get
think
two guesses.
Well, yeah, I do.
Brad, what do you think this is?
It's dad fights. I get another guess. You're in Colorado.
Lay it on us, Randy.
I got a backup guess. You're on a road trip right now? You're on a road trip.
On a road trip.
Okay. Paris, France.
Why don't you let us have it, Randy?
I'm in the city of my favorite baseball player growing up.
Well, Chicago?
Yes.
Yeah, because your favorite baseball player growing up was Ron Santo.
That's correct.
So you've made your way just over to Chicago. I imagine this is just the beginning of things.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yeah, we started in Iowa City on Friday to see my son and his wife, and then Saturday came to Chicago for my wife's brother's birthday. Turns the big 70 this week. And and we haven't seen them since COVID. We really haven't been around them for 4 years, so this was a big deal to be here.
All right.
So we're leaving. We're leaving this morning for a new destination, and all I'll tell you is we're heading east. That's all I'm going to tell you.
This is going to be fun. So all week long, we'll get to find out where Randy is on Tuesday, Wednesday. All week long, we'll get to find this out.
I just thought your car would have just pointed you out to Las Vegas, and you would have driven out there.
Was it tough for you not to head out to Vegas and gamble and with the prostitutes and all the things that you love in the live comedy?
I'm sure I'll find all of the above at some point along the trip.
Maybe hit scores in New York City.
Yeah, now we're talking.
Now, are you staying right in the city in Chicago, or are you in one of them suburbs?
Suburbs. Yeah, definitely suburbs.
Is it a fancy one?
It's nice. Yeah, her brother lives in a really nice place. It's got a great house right along a golf course. Yeah, it's very nice.
When I was in the Chicago area recently, we stayed in a town right by Northwestern University.
Oh,
and that was a really awesome area. I thought
Evanston is a very nice area.
Exactly, Brad Ryder. We were in that general area, and man, I mean, it was beautiful. And it wasn't that. It was only about, I don't know. I mean, traffic in Chicago is mental 24 hours a day.
It is crazy. And to think that, I mean, he lives in a suburb that's probably about 30 miles outside of downtown Chicago. That's how huge Chicago is. I mean, it's crazy when you think about it. So, yeah.
Yeah. Even with horrible traffic, it was a pretty quick ride from Northwestern University to downtown Chicago. I always have liked Chicago. I have. Loved visiting there. Well, there you go. So stop number 1 for Randy Shaver's All-American road trip with the wife, Chicago,
and
Illinois.
This is a 2-week road trip, so we're on the road for 2 weeks.
Good Lord.
Did you hit up any good restaurants in Chicago? They have an amazing food scene there, don't they? Isn't it phenomenal?
My wife's brother's a fantastic cook, so he made food for us the last 2 days.
Oh,
so
lucky you.
We did not need to go to a restaurant. He's unbelievably good.
Are you going to bother going to a Cubs game or something like that? Being a kid who grew up following the Cubs.
Yeah, I know. No time for that, unfortunately. We did spend some time yesterday with our really good friends who we travel with to Vegas. They live here in Chicago, so
it's like a swapping kind of a scene, isn't it? This other couple that.
No. He ran track with me at Iowa State. We were teammates at Iowa State, so we've known each other for 45 years. So it was great. It's been great.
You're obviously out of town, but did we ever get a final answer from Brad Ryder? Brad, are you going to be available to join us for our booze cruise on Friday?
Oh, I did. Honestly, I didn't realize it was this Friday. I will let you know. No, I will let you know by Tuesday or Wednesday, probably.
I would say that's a no.
That's not how it works, Brad Ryder.
It's my son's birthday on Friday, so I got to figure out what we're doing.
That's a no.
Yeah,
How old is your son again? Isn't he younger?
He's
Brad?
turning 20.
That's usually
He's
how it.
20.
Oh, turning 20. Okay.
Bring him along.
Yeah, get him a fake ID. Bring him on the board.
Well,
I wouldn't mind that at all.
All morning long, keep listening. We're giving away 4 packs to get on our booze cruise all morning long and all day long on 93X. Get back to you on Tuesday or Wednesday. Listen to this effing guy.
That's a no. Waiting to have.
I didn't realize it was this Friday.
What the hell's the matter with you? Twins won their weekend series in Detroit. Oh, Jesus, Randy, you're not swinging through Detroit, are you? Oh.
No.
Oh. Actually, it's not so bad. Detroit. I hear great things about how nice that city's become. I went there in 1996, and I feared for my life the entirety of my stay.
Yeah. I don't think I ever stayed in downtown Detroit when I covered sports teams that played in Detroit until they built Ford Field, and then downtown actually is pretty nice.
I have a couple of friends who go there. To see the Vikings play every year. And they love downtown Detroit now.
Don't they have casinos in downtown Detroit? It's at least the last time I was there was.
I'd have to ask these fellas. Brad Ryder, when's the last time you were in Detroit?
It's been a while, but they do have them across the border in Windsor.
No, this was in downtown Detroit.
Yep, they have an MGM even.
Yeah.
Open 24 hours.
Well, wow, that sounds like someplace you should visit, Randy.
I've been there.
You have? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last time I was in Detroit, it was a historic event, actually. 1996, it was Kiss's very first reunion concert when they got back together.
Oh, boy.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
When they really...
Is that the original Peter Criss?
Yes. When the original Kiss got back together in 96, their very first show of their reunion tour was at the old Tiger Stadium.
Oh, boy.
And me and a friend drove out to Detroit, and it was miserably hot. But it was really special for us being Kiss fans since we were kids to see that first show of what became, one of the most successful reunion tours of all time. I mean, it was off the charts bananas. One moment that I'll always remember is my dad being a career over-the-road truck driver, and he was still working at the time. I called the old man and I said, we're going to Detroit. You got any tips? And he said, yeah, you want to stay on this road. Don't you dare go on this other road. I can't remember the numbers, but he said, do not find yourself on this road that leads to downtown Detroit. It's not pretty. Just don't go there. You'll be lucky if you make it out alive. Well, me and my buddy accidentally took that exit.
That's not
Was he right?
He was effing right. I mean, every building we passed was burned out or boarded up. It was just terrible. Just terrible. And it was sad and depressing, too. You see these people who just... Sure. But anyway, we did, because we took that wrong route, we got to see something that, to me, it's straight out of a movie. We had plenty of time to get to the show, but this was a very exciting thing for Kiss fans. We were probably going 60 miles an hour on this road. We got passed by a dude, just him in his car, in full Peter Criss gear. He's going like 80 miles an hour. Boom, he passes us. And my buddy and I were joking like, damn, Peter Criss is running late for the show. He had the makeup, he had a wig, he had the full authentic costume. He passes us. About 10 minutes later, there's that same Peter Criss guy standing on the side of the road confused as his car is wrapped around a telephone pole.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. I was just thinking, what if like his car broke down in that kind of neighborhood and he's dressed like that?
Dude, if you think the real Peter Criss is sad, you should have seen this version of Peter Criss. He was still 15 miles away from the venue. His car is totaled. He's standing there with a ticket in his hand, dressed head to toe, like he was going to get on the stage. Twins won 6-3 yesterday. They piled up some runs there in the extra innings and got the series win. So that was fun.
They play a very good Atlanta Braves team, though, starting tonight. I mean, this Braves team is... the Spencer Strider leads the major leagues in strikeouts, so it's not a great matchup for the Twins, who lead the majors in strikeouts with 807.
Dude.
So this could be a fast game tonight if Strider is on. However, the Twins will have, Sonny Gray pitching tonight, and he's no slouch. So it should be a really good pitcher's duel tonight. In Atlanta, I was reading this morning that this is the third time the Twins have played in Atlanta. No, the fourth time, but it's the third different stadium.
Oh, is that right?
So they played in Fulton County Stadium. Sure. They played at Turner Field, and now they're playing in the new ballpark that the Braves have right now.
That's interesting. And it's also interesting. That's valuable information. The Twins lead the big leagues with 800-some effing strikeouts. Like I said, we need a new mascot at Target Field that's a ceiling fan made out of baseball bats. And the pitcher they're going up against tonight, Spencer Strider, is the big league leader in strikeouts?
Yes, he is. 127. Ooh. And they lead the majors in home runs. The Braves do. With Matt Olson, I think leads the National League in home runs. I was also reading Ronald Acuna is just having probably an MVP type career season right now. I think he leads. This is an outfielder that's not slight. He's a pretty built guy. I think he leads the major leagues in stolen bases with like 35 or something. But they have a great lineup. I mean, from top to bottom, the Braves are one of the better teams in Major League Baseball. So it should be a great test for the Twins.
Yeah, I thought I read somewhere that they were the second, lowest odds to win the World Series right now. I think Tampa Bay is one, and they're two. Yeah. So,
and a lot of that, Brad, is their pitching staff. I mean, their starting pitching staff. The Twins have had a great year as far as starting pitching go for them. No doubt.
Right, for them.
But the Braves are at a different level. I mean, they just are at a different level right now. So
3-game series starts tonight. Yeah, 3-game series. I had another direction I was going to go there, and I forgot where I was going with it. So maybe it'll come back to me. Starting tonight at 6:00. All right. There were two big stories from baseball over the weekend. The Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim in the greater Orange County area is what most folks were talking about, and what they did to the Colorado Rockies on Saturday night.
Oh, yeah. Jeez.
Great. The final flipping score was Angels 25, Rockies 1.
Just embarrassing.
They had a 13-run inning. I understand after 4 innings, the Angels led this game 23-0.
They practically tried not to score after that.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. What do you do? At what point... is it 15 runs, 20 runs? Do you just kind of lay off a little?
What do you do? What did they actually try? What do you mean, Randy? Did they empty the bench?
I'm not saying that they didn't try. I'm just saying that I think it felt like they had done enough. They started pulling some of their starters, putting some backup guys in.
Okay. Well, some of the more unwritten rules of baseball. Yeah, some of the more unwritten rules of baseball when you have a big lead like that is you don't take pitches. You go up and swing. You go up and swing at everything. And if you're swinging at first and second pitches and you happen to be getting hits, you can't do anything about it.
You can't fake baseball. I mean, football, you conservatively run the ball and punt it. Hell, we're up by 30. What could happen? Basketball, you dribble the shot clock out, whatever. You put the scrubs out there. Hockey, you dump and you don't chase.
Right.
Baseball, what are you going to do?
Yeah, if you're up
This would have
15
been
in
10-year-old.
baseball in the seventh inning, you don't go up there and take 3 pitches. That's kind of the unwritten rule, is you just go up there and hack away and get the game moving.
If it would have been 10-year-old baseball, the 10-run rule would have gone into effect, or the 20-run rule, and you would have been done for the night.
Oh, hell
So-
yeah. A guy would have went to the concession stand for 3 beers, come back, game's over. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
So the Angels just set franchise marks up and down. For runs scored, they had 28 hits. That's a franchise record. The margin of victory was 24 runs, and that's almost never been done before. There was a game a few years ago in 2007, and then beyond that, there was a game in 1950.
Jeez.
So 21 runs on 17 hits just through 3 innings. After 4 innings, it's 23 runs on the board. It was just an absolute slaughter.
And the game was played in Colorado. Am I right about that?
I believe so.
Yes.
Well, that's the ballpark that, I'm sure their average runs per game is probably higher in Colorado than any other ballpark in Major League Baseball. So
Here's a listener texted in and said, "What's the big deal? My son's baseball team loses 25-1 almost every game."
I'm saying, yeah.
And just for the record, if you're keeping score, Brenton Doyle homered for Colorado in the 8th. That was the one. That was the one. Of all the accolades, you get this guy from the Angels went 5 for 6, and they're 4 or 5 guys. They went back-to-back home runs in their 13-run third inning. But just in case you're keeping score, the 1 run for Colorado, Brenton Doyle,
Can't believe
gone.
Can't believe that didn't spark him to make the comeback
in the 8th inning. Yeah.
I think one of the more, or I should say, one of the next rule changes in baseball is probably going to be some sort of a 10-run rule.
You think so?
Nah,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Yeah, what about
I
the
think
people
with
that
all-
pay
with
money
all
to
the
be there?
attention with all the attention on pitching and making sure, you know what I mean? Like,
well,
and I'm not saying
Yeah,
after
but
5
you're
innings.
taking
I'm
away-
saying after like 7 or 8 innings.
But you're taking away opportunities for players to put players still care about statistics. They still care about numbers, and now you're taking that opportunity away from them by just shutting the game down. I don't think that's going to happen.
That's a good point, Randy Shaver, about player statistics, but also you're taking it away from the fans. I mean,
fans.
Yep.
That's correct.
On a Saturday night, if I go to a ball game, sure, I want my team to win, but I'm also
Right.
there for the experience and drinking and eating. You know, if
I mean, the
suddenly
game's
in the
already
But if it's 22-2 in the 8th inning, you've already been there for 3 hours and 10 minutes eating and drinking anyway, haven't you?
well, I'm just saying, if it's a Saturday night, I'm fine sticking around and just being part of the scene. If suddenly they say, well, it's a 10-run rule, game's over, I'm going to say, well, what are you talking about? What if I drove to Chicago to see a game or something like that?
That's true. I'd be devastated.
Especially if my team has scored the 22. That's fun. I want to
keep watching.
Right.
No, I don't know. I wonder whether that isn't going to be talked about.
Well, you may be right, Brad Ryder. We're not arguing that it might not be talked about, and you're right. The way they want to conserve the athletes, and health of the athlete is so important. Sure, it'll probably be talked about. I hope it doesn't happen. Now, Randy Shaver, I'm glad we got your degenerate gambling ass on the air. 'Cause you got to explain something to me. Maybe Brad Ryder knows too, or one of the rest of you. Some swinging D won $192,000 on that 25-1 Angels victory over the Rockies.
Okay.
They say, I don't necessarily enjoy talking about the rich getting richer when it comes to gambling. The fun stories is when a guy puts $1 down and, oh my God, he won. Some guy had $95,000 to put down.
To put down on what, though? What was the bet?
I'm getting there. And this is something I've never followed this before. He was correct on the run lines.
Oh, like the runs, hits, and errors?
I believe it was runs per inning.
Oh, runs per inning.
I looked at this story once or twice, and I just don't understand this complex level of gambling. But from what, tell me, I think it meant...
How much did he put down?
It says he put $95,000 on 2 separate Angels run lines. So does that mean he correctly predicted that they would score 3 in the first, 13 in the third, 7?
No.
I don't know what that means.
No, I'm going to guess it's more of an over-under number.
Okay.
I don't think I've been in Vegas many times. I've never seen where you can bet on how many runs a team will score per inning. I don't think.
I'm guessing what he did. They have a standard, like you can in the Angels Rockies game that night, the over under on the total number of runs scored, I'm going to guess was maybe 13. Between the two teams. But maybe he did a bet. Maybe he did a bet though. Maybe this guy did a bet where he got better odds on a higher run total. Does that make sense? Like he went over 22 instead of over 13,
Right.
and he cashed on that. That's what I'm guessing.
Fair enough. All right. I don't want to get into this, the other big conversation in baseball over
And be honest with you, and Nick, to be honest with you, he only really doubled his money because if he put down 95 and won 190, he really only doubled his money.
Yeah, but still, $95,000 doubled. I'm not
not mad about
I'm
that.
not walking away from that. The other big story in baseball was did the pitcher from the Astros balk or did he not balk? I don't want to get into that because it's like the least interesting conversation in all of sports, whether a balk was legit or not.
I think I saw this video, and I'm going to say he did.
I can live with it, Randy Shaver. I can live with it. Even if I thought he didn't, I can live with it. But everyone was arguing.
Everybody went crazy. I know Dusty Baker was like, what the hell just happened? But, I mean, it looked to me like he moved to the plate then stopped. So
yeah, it is what it is. It's a balk. There is no real clear definition, for Christ's sake, to this day on what a balk is in Major League Baseball. Now, speaking of runs being scored, the College World Series, which I mentioned, I don't watch because I can't stand the sound of aluminum bats. Anybody involved in the College Baseball World Series?
No.
I probably will tune in tonight, though.
Tonight's the deciding championship game, right, Brad?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I don't blame any of us for not following. So Florida scored the most runs in College World Series history. They came up 1 run short of the record for largest margin of victory. They beat LSU yesterday 24-4.
Ryan Bell strikes this one well. Center field. Kling looks up, and it's 20 for Florida.
6 homers in one College World Series game.
All right. The Gators hit 6 home runs. They say it was a windy day. They had 23 hits, the most lopsided College World Series game since 1957. And tonight's the final. LSU and Florida. We'll see who gets her done. All right. God dang
I saw where, speaking of college baseball, I saw where John Anderson is coming back for year number 43 to go for baseball next year.
Wow.
That's pretty impressive.
When the hell did he get hired? When he was 17 years old?
He was actually, I think, 25 or 26 when he did. Or actually, maybe even younger than that. He might have been like 24.
So he coached Paul Molitor. He coached Dave Winfield. He coached Glenn Perkins. He coached Keaton Talkman. He's seen it all. Well, that's great. 43rd year next year?
Yeah.
This will upset you a little bit. There's a collegiate summer baseball team in Macon, Georgia that calls themselves the Macon Bacon.
Cute.
I think we've mentioned them before, haven't we, Josh?
We have.
Macon Bacon.
Their mascot is a 7-foot slice of bacon named Kevin.
That's awesome.
It's kind of upsetting.
That was a letdown.
It's not upsetting.
I love that.
Not everyone digs this bit, though. Not everybody.
What?
An animal rights group.
Oh,
God.
Come on.
Did anyone say that it wasn't vegan bacon?
It's Kevin Bacon. Come on.
I didn't even say their name, and everyone already went, and they're called the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. They say that bacon increases cancer risk, and they're asking the team to change its name to something that's healthier.
Oh, for Pete's sake, can't we just have a little bit of fun?
better watch out. Somebody's going to run on that field and try to glue themselves to the pitching rubber or something.
Boy, that was a fun stretch of time there. Wasn't it, when we had people running on the basketball court and trying to glue themselves to things?
Yeah. Hanging from the ceiling at U.S. Bank.
Hanging from the ceiling at U.S. Bank.
Right, during the,
Oh, yeah.
with the
I remember
Bears
that.
New Year's game?
Yep.
A couple years
I don't
a few years
recall
back?
that at all.
Oh, yeah.
With glue?
No.
No.
Oh, I was.
The Target Center
It'd
one
have
was
to be
glue.
some like really strong gorilla
Yeah,
glue.
it's like that old ad with the construction worker in the hard hat who would hang from the beam. Anyone remember that one?
I love that ad.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So don't worry about it. The Macon Bacon, they're not changing a damn thing. The president of the ball club said, number one, he was very surprised to hear criticism. And I guess this animal rights group has also been putting up billboards in the city. And the president of this ball club is looking around going, well, what the hell? He said,
Come on.
the Macon Bacon do not view ourselves as a glorification of an unhealthy lifestyle. We pride ourselves on being a fun-natured organization focused on bringing families and communities together. This guy's got some reserve, some reason, this guy. Because I think a lot of us, including myself, would have probably come off a lot more angry and offended. But he just said, look, we don't view ourselves as a glorification of anything negative. We're just trying to have some fun. He said, they do serve a ton of bacon in the stadium, but they also offer plant-based options. And as for the name, he said, we will not consider a name change, ... ever.
Yeah, good.
Now this
End of
group,
story. Do not give it any more oxygen.
exactly,
Yeah,
Brad Ryder.
exactly.
This group is also unhappy about a ball club in Wisconsin that calls themselves the Milwaukee Milkmen. That doesn't work. I don't have any reasons why Milkmen is bad. If milk makes us fat or makes us fart, or I don't know what it is, but they're going after the Milwaukee. What do the Milwaukee Milkmen do anyway? I didn't look up specifics. They must be a minor league baseball team. I'd love to see their mascot, some big old 1950s milkman with a rack of.
It's an independent team.
What sport?
Independent baseball team.
It is baseball. Okay.
Oh, it looks like the mascot I'm seeing is like a cow that has a milkman jersey on, and it says 2%.
That's his number?
Yeah.
That's funny.
His jersey number is 2%.
They say they provide an utterly different ballpark experience.
Oh, here we go.
Bet you could get a cold glass of milk there.
Here we go. They got to have some cheese jokes in there somewhere.
That's fun.
Move over, Kevin Bacon.
That's right.
The mascot is a giant cow. First name Bo, last name Vine.
Bovine.
Dude. Oh, I've mentioned this before. When I was a tiny little kid, our milkman was my hero. I idolized.
Is it because he was your dad?
Oh, wow.
No. Oh, I see what you mean.
Speculation.
I got it.
You never know. Ashley, it was the 70s. Marvin the Milkman, he's passed now. Marvin checked out a few years ago, but I just thought, number one, Marvin was a very friendly guy, and he was friends with my folks, but he drove this big rattle-trap milk truck. You know, you hear him coming down the road. He'd drop the milk off. My mom would give him $1.
Isn't that
had a
amazing
milkman.
to think about?
Yeah.
Hey, Nick, we used to have like what was called a milk box that sat outside the my back door.
Yeah.
And I think every other morning, the milkman would drop off, I don't know, a quart or a gallon or whatever.
Yeah.
It's always in a glass bottle.
Yep.
You know, there was no plastic.
Yeah, you had to be careful with
And
that friggin' bottle when you were bringing it in the house. If you
Yep.
dropped it.
And would leave it in the milk box.
Yeah.
And that's where you would go, and it kept it cool until you got out there to grab the milk and bring it in the house.
Yeah, Marvin would hand us this big effing aluminum cage filled with milk. Here you go. I'd be pumped because that means I could have some Fruit Loops. All right, I'm also pumped about the news we got yesterday about Naz Reid, my favorite member of the team.
Awesome.
I'm so pleased to hear that Naz Reid signed a 3-year extension with the Timberwolves. They're paying him real money. What a great story. What a great guy. And so you guys can take it from there. But I couldn't be more thrilled.
A lot of credit needs to go to Naz Reid, too, because he's the one that really kind of made the decision that he was going to stay with this organization.
Yeah.
He had all the leverage. He could go and shop himself around, maybe not make quite as much money as he would get under Larry Bird rights with the Timberwolves, but still could set himself up to be in a great place. Now, having said that, he's still in a great spot because it's a 3-year deal. Year 3 is a player option. So in 2 years, he can opt out and still look for, bigger money. So, but for right now, 3 years, $42 million? It's a great deal for him. It's a great deal for the organization. They've promised him more playing time, that he's going to be a vital part of their team. And, I just think it's a great deal all the way around for the Wolves.
Me too.
He's making $14 million a year now for the next couple of years. I think from what I read, a lot of the other offers that were kind of being floated out there, he was going to make about 10 to 12 other places. So you're right, he is making a little bit more money here. I do think, and some people aren't going to like this, I do think that it's probably, and I'm not saying he's gone, but I think this increases the likelihood that perhaps Karl might get traded.
Well, it probably increases the likelihood that they will investigate trades.
Yes. Because if they're promising him Naz Reid more playing time, where is that going to come at the expense of? You know what I mean? I'm glad they re-signed him too. He had a great year. He's deserving. He should be a part of this. But if he's going to get more playing time, where is that going to come? Because he plays the exact same position that Karl does.
Isn't it a shame?
And I guess I don't. And Brad, you probably know this better than I do. I don't know what their salary structure is. How much? Money they have to spend on other free agents or to maneuver their roster.
At this point, probably around $65 or $66 at this point.
Yeah. So if they don't have a lot of leverage, or the one way that you can create that is to trade a Karl.
Yeah, you cannot. You hit on a good point. You can always re-sign your own players for more than anyone else can, and that's part of what the NBA does to try to entice teams to be able to stay competitive. But at the same time, you're not going to have as much money if you try to keep everybody here. You're not going to have as much money to go out and fill roster holes. So if you do indeed want him to have a bigger role, how is that going to happen?
He's my favorite player, and I'm right now officially, cordially inviting him to our booze cruise on Friday.
That'd be nice if he showed up.
Naz Reid, if you get this, if you hear this, get a hold of the radio station. We'll get you lined up for our booze cruise Friday night on the St. Croix, 7 to 10. You will be well received. And what a great story. Undrafted.
Yeah.
I just think he's a wonderful guy and my favorite player to watch. Did you guys know that there is, in fact, a real-life Happy Gilmore?
No.
No.
There's a real-life... he just announced where he's going to be playing college golf. So this is a kid fresh out of high school. And this story caught the attention of the dude who played the fictional character Happy Gilmore, Adam Sandler. Real-life Happy Gilmore is committed to Ball State University in Indiana to play collegiate golf, and Adam Sandler offered his congratulations on Twitter. He said, "Go get him, Happy. I'm pulling for you."
That's cool.
No, not really. But the kid responded with, "My life is complete," when he got a text from Gilmore. His real name is Landon Gilmore. He was given the Happy nickname after he won a long drive contest at age 9. The nickname stuck. And this is a concerning part of the story. Now he's considering a legal name change? Hang on, dude. You really want to do that?
Slow down.
I mean, I wanted a tattoo when I was his age. I'm glad I didn't. You might want to drink about that a little bit before you legally change your name to Happy Gilmore. The real-life Happy Gilmore's never played hockey, but he says he can do the Happy Gilmore swing where you give her a running start.
Yep. Everybody's tried that at least once out on the course.
He recently shot a 66 at a U.S. amateur qualifier, whatever that means, but there's a real-life Happy Gilmore. Good luck to you. Good luck to you. Guess there's worse nicknames that you can be stuck with.
All right, ass man.
You've come around.
Lonely Boy's not bad. I really like that's got a nice ring to it, Brad Ryder. The Lonely Boy. Or would you disagree?
No, it's fine. I like that song, so.
Oh, what a lonely boy. The King was in town over the weekend.
No way.
Taylor Swift?
Not Lawler. Not Lawler. Not LeBron.
Elvis?
Yeah.
Not Elvis. Richard Petty, dude.
Oh.
Did you see this footage, Josh?
Yeah, pretty exciting. Those kids must be pumped.
The greatest stock car driver of all time, Richard Petty, was in town for the Back to the 50s deal. And he's 86 years old now, 85 years old. And Josh said, he's involved right now. What an absolute thrill this would be. He's mentoring students from Lakeville North High School and Minneapolis North High School as part of their automotive and metal works program. They're building cars.
Cool.
And Richard stinking Petty walks in and is going to show you how to do this and you better do that with his big black cowboy hat and his shades and all that friggin' shoe polish in his hair. He still looks like it's 1971.
I wonder if they even know how awesome that is.
I'm sure that's what I was wondering. I wonder if the kids even know or realize.
I'm sure it's been told to them.
Yeah, their parents are like, hey, this is really cool. Get me an autograph.
Isn't that also part of I've heard a lot of discussion about the resurgence of shop in school and home ec in school, and
is that a fact?
starting to turn around again and come back.
Well,
because of the push for more conversation about trade schools and more conversation about having having choices for kids who don't want to go to college necessarily, but obviously we need trades. We need people to be able to do those kind of things.
Yeah, the trade industry is hurting really bad right now, and they should have more programs like this because college isn't for everybody.
I hope there is a resurgence in things like shop and home ec, because Richard Petty said it I saw him interviewed by Channel 9 or somebody over the weekend, and he said, hey, if you can work with your hands, you'll always have a job.
There you go.
I wish I was the kind of person who was better working. My hands are useless for things like building construction. I'm terrible because I didn't take shop class seriously. I never thought about a trade. I was too lazy. I was too stupid. I wish I would have gotten involved in those things.
I think that all of that's making a comeback, though. I think there's been a lot of discussion the last couple of years about, bringing some of that back to allow kids to, exactly what you're talking about, have an opportunity to learn skills that they wouldn't necessarily learn somewhere else that might lead them to, getting involved in the trades in one way or another. So
pretty cool to see Richard Petty and knowing that he's going to be working with these kids as they're having a build-off next year. Lakeville High School, Minneapolis North High School. Petty's going to mentor them through the And then I get this text message. Medical Device Jesus just doesn't like me anymore. I don't know what happened. I get too many Michigan State jokes, but the guy's just... Now, he texted in. Here we go with one of these guys. Are you ready, NASCAR fans? Medical Device Jesus. You ever heard of Jimmy Johnson or Jeff Gordon? The both of them at the same time couldn't carry Richard Petty's friggin' jock at the same friggin' time.
Are you sure there's not a connection to Michigan State for those last two guys?
You know what? I'd have to look that up. The two of them couldn't carry Petty's friggin' jock. Coming at me with Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon. Yeah. Well, there you go, Randy. We're excited to find out where you're going to be tomorrow on your All-American ball and chain road trip with the wife.
I love it, the B&C road trip.
And we appreciate you calling in. It was a pleasant surprise.
Well, good. I'll chat with you tomorrow.
Absolutely. Thanks to both of you gentlemen, all right?
Yeah.
We'll talk to you later. We'll be back here. Oh, I almost forgot. Jesus, Josh.
We've got work to do.
It was a close one. We're keeping with our vibe this morning of pumping out shots at the Booze Cruise. So right now, on the Luther Bloomington Kia text line, text River, is that our next one? No, you did that one.
Did that one. You got to go a couple
Cruise.
down. No, we did that
What,
one.
really?
Yeah, we did that one.
Oh, for God's sake, I suck at this. Right now in the Luther Bloomington Kia text line, text kangaroos.
There you go.
All of this?
What?
No,
just the one. Kangaroos.
Kangaroos. To 651-989-9393 for a shot to win a 4-pack of tickets to our booze cruise. Friday, June 30th. Of course, you know that. This Friday. Prize furnished by Stillwater Riverboats. The party is sponsored by Anytime Bail Bonds. The word is kangaroos to 651-989-9393. That went smoothly. We'll be right back on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
They just eat because they eat everything. Anything in their path, they'll eat, including each other.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
CJ Ham for Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. When I'm on the field, I can take anything. But at home with my family, we like everything to be comfortable. That's why I trust the pros at Standard. They've been keeping Minnesotans like me comfortable for over 90 years.
Is your cooling system making strange noises or not cooling properly? Don't wait for an AC breakdown this summer. Get a free in-home estimate with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Schedule your appointment today at standardheating.com.
Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
Right now on the Luther Bloomington Kia text line, text CRAFT, C-R-A-F-T, CRAFT to 651-989-9393 for a shot to win a 4-pack of tickets to the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show Booze Cruise. The Booze Cruise is this Friday, June 30th in Stillwater. Tickets are furnished by Stillwater Riverboats, sponsored by Anytime Bail Bonds. This keyword is good today, June 26th until midnight. Good luck.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
I'll be damned. He's right about that. It's F-off week here at the Half-Assed Morning Show. Welcome back to the show. It's 8:30. Maybe some of you are enjoying the same vibe. We're off next week for Independence Day, so this week is our last hurdle before that. It's a nice feeling, F-off week, wouldn't you say, Josh?
So far, so good.
So how does that...
things could take a turn for the worse. You never know.
Oh, at any moment. Yeah, at any moment. We'll just hang on and see what happens. So how does everyone get along with their neighbors?
I don't know any of mine.
Of the ones I know, very well.
Yeah, my neighbors are nice people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too.
I try to stay on their good side, mostly because they're the ones in the neighborhood that have cameras. So if I ever, something ever happens at my house, I can go and be like, hey.
Delete that footage.
I didn't think about that. Cameras. How do you know they all have cameras?
Because you can see them.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. It's a new house, too. They just built it.
For the most part, we all get along with our neighbors. That's good. Yeah, I mean, I can't say that I, know them terribly personally, but friendly waves and chit-chat now and again. Your classic, I think in my mind, your typical classic neighbor-to-neighbor relationship. Has anyone ever had bad experiences with their neighbors in the past?
Yes.
No. Yeah, I have for sure.
Just sort of, in my case.
Was that the Christmas lights guy?
Yeah. I've mentioned this before, but a guy that I lived in this neighborhood in Shakopee where all of us were very close.
It was your first awesome. Mistake, by the way, was moving to Shakopee.
Moving to Shakopee?
Yeah.
Well, it was affordable. And we were very close, and there was one guy that got really mad at me because he thought I was copying his Christmas decorations. What? I thought he was kidding. I was like, that's hilarious. It's like, no. And he was mad at me and yelled at me.
You were unknowingly in a Christmas lights competition with the neighbor.
Yeah, and I had one single strand of lights over my garage door. I had a Santa Stops Here little thing staked out, and then I had 2 or 3 decorations on our fireplace mantle that he had one of. And again, this is not like family heirlooms. This is a Target. I just went to Target and grabbed a couple of things. I didn't have anything. And he legitimately thought I was trying to
That's hilarious.
impede on his vibe.
What a child. What about the problems that Dana and Ashley said they had neighbor problems? Go ahead, Smash.
I had a neighbor
Well, number one, whose fault was it?
I don't think it was my fault, no.
You don't think it was your fault?
When me and my ex were moving out of our house, for showings, we had to obviously take the dogs out of the house. And so we had kennels in the garage, so we put them in the garage. The neighbors wrote us a really long note about how we don't treat our dogs well and that they would be happy to take them and treat them like they're supposed to be treated. Yeah, that didn't go over well.
In fairness,
I
your
was
dog
not
did
happy.
eat its own foot off.
No, that was before I had that dog.
Okay.
Yep.
So they didn't like the idea of just putting your dogs in a cage and keeping them in the garage?
Yeah, it wasn't like it was all day either. It'd be for like an hour or two when people were coming to see the house. Yeah.
Did you write them a letter back? Did you go to the door?
No, I didn't. No.
You just kind of gutted that pain and buried it deep down?
Yep, it was hard, too.
That's how you do it.
You know I'm crazy protective over my dogs. I was like, how dare they mention that?
Dana, your neighbor issue?
I had it was an old guy. I lived on the corner. He lived next to us, and he was an angry, angry drunk. He would drink every day, and by the time 6, 7 o'clock rolled around, he'd be hollering, screaming at people. Making threat. He once left a death threat on my wife's car. Like the dude was just off his. But if you caught him at 8, 9 in the morning, most pleasant guy ever. Hey, good morning. How you doing, neighbor?
But once he tore the cap off.
Couple of cervezas, you're in trouble.
Once he came about happy hour time, you did not want to have that guy even see you.
That's crazy.
He would yell something at you. He'd knock trash cans over.
So very little of it made sense. He just tossed threats at anybody.
Yes, he was just your classic drunk.
Why did he want to kill your wife?
So you know how like a sidewalk in Minneapolis, it goes through through the driveway, you know.
Yep.
And she didn't pull her car up far enough, so a little bit of the bumper was hanging into the sidewalk.
Oh,
she needs to die for that.
Yes.
Yeah. Death.
Man, that sounds awful.
Yeah.
Skinny P. Jesus said he's a property manager, and 99.9% of his job is solving neighbor disputes. And he goes on to say people suck. Yeah, I bet that's difficult. Yep.
Someone posted 5 of the most annoying habits neighbors hate. They went ahead and posted this for you, for all of us. Let's go through it and see what you think. Mowing the lawn at odd hours is one of the annoying habits that neighbors hate, meaning too early or too late in the day.
I try and be conscious of that.
Yeah.
Someone comes and mows my lawn. I don't know when they do it, but I never see them, and so I don't really have to worry about that.
I pop over like once a week more.
Well, maybe it's the person because you rent, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's the person that owns the place.
Well, he said he was going to buy me a lawnmower so I could mow, and that just never happened.
Nice.
Just like, okay.
Don't ever listen to someone when they promise to buy you a lawnmower. It never plays out the way you like it to be.
Fooled one too many times.
I've never gotten pissed though at a neighbor that's mowed early or late.
Yeah, not pissed, but there have been a couple times where I thought, this is friggin' 8:05 on a Saturday morning. You fired up the snapper.
Yeah, that.
The John Deere, whatever, the Craftsman. But not anything I'd get too buck wild about. So mowing the lawn too early or late in the effing day. Then they have some expert takes on when's the best time to mow your lawn. I'm not going to bore you with that. Parties or backyard barbecues that go too late.
Yeah, I've been guilty of that. I've been that bad neighbor.
Oh, when we were young, I give the neighbors on both sides of my folks' place. When my brother and I were just living there with the old man, we were crazy. When my brother and I were 19, 20. It was damn near a lights out kegger every weekend. Fights. My brother and I would fight, or the fights in the driveway. The cops coming. My brother punched an arm through a window. It was just absolute madness. And the neighbors on both sides, who we had known most of our lives, I'll give them all the credit in the world for their patience and understanding. Now, granted, they did call the cops a couple times, but that was out of concern. You know, they even came over and said, hey, the only reason why we called the cops is we thought somebody was dead. You know, so I can't say enough great things about them. They could have made our lives very difficult, but they put up with everything.
We've got 2 neighbors that they really like to, they have huge parties. And by neighbors, they're like around the block from us, but it's so loud you can hear it. Like to the point where I thought when we first moved in there, I thought there was a rave right next to me or something, but they're all the way around the block. They've got like a big pool and they have these huge parties.
They let her buck.
Oh yeah, and then there's another one a little down the road, same type of thing.
Oh, are you and the old lady never invited?
Yeah, I was going to ask.
Well, like I said, we don't know them. I mean, they're not on our actual street. There's one down the road and one that's around the block that's just crazy loud. I'm jealous of how much fun they seem to have all hours of the night in the all year round, really.
You get a little older, you understand that, there are people who work for a living, and you can't be screaming your nuts off at 3, 4 in the morning and cranking them. I mean, come on, there's common sense involved. We all are guilty of being a hellraiser now and again. They say it's best to let your neighbors know if you're throwing a party. And that is something that my brother and I did towards the end of our run there.
The couple we've had, we did that.
Really?
When we were 19.
We invited everybody to.
Yeah, when we were, like I said, 19, 20, and we knew these neighbors very well. We would go over there and say, hey, look, things might get a little mental tonight. And they always said, okay, well, be careful. They're very good people.
Just even with, on one of them for parking, just let them know.
Oh,
hey,
sure.
Let us know if somebody's car is blocking your driveway or something like that.
I did feel very guilty the one morning where, we just had a complete gong show party and woke up the next, I'd like to say morning, but it probably was more around noon. And here comes my neighbor on one side with a massive black garbage bag. And he says, I believe these belong to you. And I looked in the bag, and it was all empty bottles and cans that my friends had thrown into their yard.
Oh, jeez. That just makes you look awful.
Yeah, but again, we knew the guy pretty well, and he was very understanding. What else do neighbors hate? Big bonfires and fire pits, they say here, makes the list of things. 5 habits neighbors hate.
I got a buddy who got yelled at about doing that.
Having a bonfire?
His fire pit, yeah.
Huh.
Didn't like the smoke.
Yep.
Oh, that's what I was wondering.
Okay. Yep. That's the thing that I try to be wary of. Start a big flipping fire with, wet wood or whatever, real smoky. And blows over. Your neighbors, got the windows open because it's summer, trying to watch a game or something, and there's just thick smoke is blowing into their house. Yeah, make sure you pick a good spot. Consider the direction of the wind. Your neighborhood might also have rules about fires.
Mm-hmm. We had a rule in my neighborhood growing up on how high it could be, how wide it could be.
I hear you on all that. This is an interesting one on the habits that neighbors hate. Poorly positioned floodlights bombing into the bedroom from your neighbor's place.
Yeah, I could see that sucking.
Make sure that motion-activated light, they say, on your garage isn't blasting straight into your neighbor's bedroom.
That would suck.
I had one that I didn't realize at the time was blinding my neighbors when they'd pull into their driveway.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that it was.
I should maybe, now that we're talking about it, I should take a closer look at and make sure everything's cool there. I would think my neighbors would have said something to me already, but
I just happened to notice it once, so I put 2 more on there, and it's way brighter. It's retina burning at this point. I was thinking about, in our new neighborhood, we do have a couple of stay off my lawn guys. One guy has stay off my lawn signs all over his yard. I've never seen anybody on it, and I think it's actually for people walking their dogs, because there are a ton of dogs in the neighborhood, and I see people let their dogs go to the bathroom on our lawn. Ours is in the middle of the block, so we get dogs left and right peeing and pooping on our lawn.
Again, yeah.
And so I think that's got to be part of it. But another guy came out, and there's a group of kids in the neighborhood, including my son, and came out and yelled at all the kids about a ball on his driveway, and it wasn't theirs. Turns out it was his son's ball.
Keep your balls off my driveway.
He's yelling at the kid. Oh, I didn't realize that. That's my son's.
Yeah. Again, not to revisit this every time the subject comes around, but the dog poop thing is still so interesting to me, how these days a load of dog turds on your lawn, people act like there's a dead body there. Who put, oh my God, he didn't pick up after your dog. This just wasn't a thing 25 years ago. And finally, speaking of dogs, the 5 habits that neighbors hate: loud dogs.
I'm so blessed that I live close to the airport, so every house has those windows that are very
Soundproof?
good at being soundproof. Yeah, I can barely hear my dogs or anybody else's.
I got a friend who's in a situation right now where, I've never been the kind of person that has recommended you get authorities involved in things like this. Never. But I was at this friend's place recently, and their neighbors' dogs are so ridiculous that I did, not that my friend needed recommendation, I did even say, look, you might have to make a phone call on this. It's ridiculous. It's all day and all night. Constant screaming, barking dog. You got to do something.
I'd feel pretty bad if my dogs were like
the
that.
neighbors should know. You can't. You can't.
HVAC delivery Jesus said he mowed his neighbor's yard since the neighbor wasn't home, just trying to be nice, and the guy called the cops. You know, it's funny because I've wanted to do that for my neighbors before. Like, I know either they're out of town or it looks like it could use it, and I'm already out there. But I worry about that because I also know some people are very particular about how their lawn's mowed or whatever, so I don't. And it's not because I don't want to be a nice neighbor, it's because I don't want to upset anyone.
You always got to consider that
good intentions, right?
Yeah, good intentions. There are people out there who they're just straight up crazy. You always got to
call the cops.
Call the cops.
Insane.
This isn't from direct personal experience. This is also from a friend where I get this next thought in my head as far as neighbors. Be careful when folding a neighbor. We got any neighbor folders?
Yeah.
No.
Nope.
Okay. I had good luck with neighbor folding. Friend of mine. Bad. She made his life a living hell because he thought it was just a neighborly benefits sexual relationship. She didn't look at it that way.
Oh.
And when he went another direction with another girl, she made his life a living hell.
That sucks.
Yeah. Neighbor folding for you, Dana? It was a positive thing?
Yeah, it was all positive. It was just kind of, everybody understood the arrangement. You know, there's no feelings.
Everybody, how many were there?
Both parties understood the arrangement.
Yeah, this gal, he woke up real early for work. Oh, and speaking of motion lights, you know, when his door opened, his motion light would come on. And so he had this, what he thought was friends with benefits type of a relationship with a neighbor lady for another girl, and she was pissed. So one morning, he got up really early for work, and so did this new girl he was seeing. So it was still pitch black. And he's opening up his front door to let this lady out. Have a good day at work. We'll see you later. And when the motion light went on, there was the neighbor lady standing in his driveway.
No.
She left him notes with things like, I'm watching you. I see what you're doing.
I'd still risk it. That seems pretty convenient for a friends with benefit relationship. You know, you just text them at 2, you up, and they're there before 2:01. And then you go to your separate homes. Dana, you screwed that one up.
Yeah, I really did.
She knew how much the man loved air conditioning. And she also knew that he went fishing a lot, left town for the weekend. So on the hottest weekend of the year while he was up north fishing, she sabotaged his air conditioning.
Oh, you do not mess with my air conditioning.
And he came home and the interior of his house was 130 degrees.
That would suck.
Dude, that'd be so scary. I would not get a good night of sleep.
The negatives.
Would you call the cops?
Yes.
You would. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't. I'd call Apollo Heating, Air, and Plumbing. We'll be back after this.
You're coming off like Jordan Parisi with the cheap plugs.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
They got their heads up their ass.
On 93X.
Isn't this something? It's all the way up to 8:55 now. So we're pretty close to skating free of this nightmare. Do we have one more chance at Booze Cruise before we leave?
We do. We have another 4-pack, and then if you don't win, no worries. All day long, it's all we're giving away today.
That's
it, all day.
Up
until 7 p.m., all day.
Get your text hand ready. We'll be there in just a minute. Get you that chance at Booze Cruise passes coming up this Friday. It's also Dana's birthday party.
I think I'm going to go.
Yeah, you can check it out.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, swing through.
I want to see it. I heard it's a good time.
I'll get back to you. We were talking about shady neighbors, problems with our neighbors. We've been all fairly lucky. Well, Dana did have an old man threaten to kill his wife.
That was less than ideal.
Years later, he agreed with the guy, turns out.
But, you know, some of us have been luckier than others when it comes to neighbors. I did get a couple of text messages from folks. We got some listeners who have issues with their neighbors. One of the, we read off the top 5 most annoying habits that your neighbor could have. You know, loud music, your motion light is blaring into the window. What am I forgetting?
Mowing the lawn.
Lawn is a disaster. Mowing your lawn at odd hours. One of them was keep an eye on your fire pit. If you're burning things, keep an eye on the wind. It could blow right into your neighbor's window. Here is a listener who says, my neighbors had a bonfire. They ran out of wood. They started burning foam board insulation.
Jeez.
Thick black smoke right into our open windows at 2 a.m.
Oh,
no.
I can just see that crew, too, his neighbors. Well, we're all out of wood. What do you got? They're drunk. Foam board insulation.
Insane.
It'd kill you. That stuff will kill you.
Well, we went to bed cancer-free. We woke up, it's a different story.
Noisy dogs was another one that'll annoy your neighbors, or your neighbors have noisy dogs that annoy you. This is pretty interesting. A listener says, my neighbor asked one day if their dog could play with our dog in our yard. And they said, well, sure, fenced-in backyard. Hey, can our dog come over and play? Well, yeah. Must have been adorable, the two dogs. Hey, who are you? This listener says, now, even when we're not home, when our neighbors leave, they put their dog in our yard.
No.
What the hell? This isn't our dog.
It's not an open invitation.
Yeah. Just...
Another listener points this out. You know who is a shifty, shady neighbor? They say.
Who's that?
Canada.
Oh.
That's the damn truth. Shady sumbitches. I've been lucky. I've been awfully lucky when it comes to neighbors. Man, when I lived in Rogers, townhome community, that's all we did was drink. Open up your garage door. That was a signal that
ready to go.
My place is for drinking tonight. We were up all night. I'd come into work just garbage, didn't I, Josh, back in those days?
Oh, that was trouble back then.
Garbage. I was a pile of garbage with a backwards hat and a pair of flip-flops.
The happiest I've ever seen you is when you came to work and said they're going to be building a Target in Rogers. Like, dude, they're going to be building a super Target right next to me.
That was a big day. Then they came out with that Maynard's.
Oh, sure.
I was pumped for that. Jesus, I was a psycho. There was so
Maynard's.
little to do in Rogers in those days. I drove to the site where they were going to build the Maynard's and just looked at it. You know what I mean?
There's so much going on there now, too.
Oh, it's crazy now. But I would drive through that parking lot. Oh, looks like they put some settings in, boys. We're getting there.
Dude, I love that.
Oh, but I was a mess when I'd drive all the way in from Rogers. I smelled like garbage. But we had a great time. Those were fun neighbors.
Happy birthday to Laugh Whore Jesus today.
Oh, my God.
Nice.
Maybe she will be the texter with the correct word, voyage. 651-989-9393, VOYAGE, text voyage on the Luther Bloomington Kia text line. You get that shot. 4-pack of tickets to the Booze Cruise this Friday in Stillwater, giving them away all day today from Stillwater Riverboats and sponsored by Anytime Bail Bonds.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. New episodes drop each weekday. If your podcast platform has ratings, go ahead and give us 5 stars and maybe give our enemies 1. Thanks, and here's a word from our sponsor.
Don't wait for an AC breakdown this summer. Get a free in-home estimate with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Schedule your appointment today at standardheating.com.